Thank you. Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. We have no withdrawn items today. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Vaughn, by Member Gray, and second by Member Washington. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. It passes unanimously. Please let the record reflect that all board members are present. We have one set of minutes to be approved today, July 9th, school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Vaughn and a second by Member Combs. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. It passes unanimously. Board members, I would like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we are a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient and effective agenda statements and/or questions, board members will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for their final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you are asked to get back in the queue. Member Vaughn will now read the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we begin this afternoon's meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on live webcast, on cable TV, and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It can also be viewed with closed captioning in the online video archive.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. We have 2 items scheduled for time certain, 5:01 p.m. public hearing and 6 p.m. employee input. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. However, it is requested when you address the board, comments are not directed personally against a board member or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Reminder that your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern. A red light and the chime will indicate when your time is up. I will now call up the first 9 speakers. Please start lining up. The first speaker, please.
Mark Lutho, Largo. Well, 30 plus years, and you say you take to heart what's said. That's a big fat lie. Oh boy. Big fat lie. Here's a headline: troubling news from the Doomsday Glacier. The big melt is underway. Yeah, we could get 10 feet of sea level rise. And then the headline says, after Beryl, hurricane season looks ominous. Yeah, and then you have these graphs. You know what these graphs mean? And then altered landscape, climate change reshaping iconic U.S. destinations. So there's a Project 2025 coming from the Republicans. And something that will come with that is eliminating the Department of Education. And along with that, the lowest of low in society will be hit the hardest. Yeah, take away their nutrition benefits. So everyone should think about that if they vote Republican. It's going to be very, very bad. Very bad. The public schools just won't be the public schools anymore. Yes, the whole idea of the Project 2025 is to maybe go back to those days of survival of the fittest. Yeah. And the poor fall by the wayside. Sad.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Kim Henriquez. Actually, I'm speaking now and not in the employee part because I'm speaking as a resident of Pinellas County. I live in Dunedin, and we've had that millage ever since I've lived there for 20 years. It's never been a big deal. We have really nice amenities in Pinellas County. We have wonderful beaches, and thank you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for standing up for democracy. Because even though I live in Pinellas County, I am proud, very proud, to teach in Hillsborough County. And today I think even more so because of the way you fight for us. I mean, I can't tell you how many schools I drive past every day to get to Lowry Elementary. But I love Lowry, I love Hillsborough County, and this is where I want to finish out my years. So thank you. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello. My name is Jennifer Stitch, and I'm a board-certified behavior analyst and the owner of Above and Beyond Behavior Analysis. I'm also a member of Project ABA Rights. To segue off of the last meeting, I've had the opportunity to work alongside teachers and paras as a collaborative team, supporting special needs children for the last 10 years in Hillsborough County. Teachers and paras have one of the most important jobs in our community, and they are not being reimbursed at a fair rate. Additionally, the high staff turnover and understaffing throughout Hillsborough County ultimately leads to teacher burnout. When our teachers are not supported, our children cannot get access to the necessary quality education and supports for success. The most vulnerable population in our district is our special needs community, and for the past year, I have been speaking with the district in meetings to provide my recommendations for a successful private instructional personnel document to best support our special needs children. Yesterday, I was sent the updated document and contains concerning language that could further limit medically necessary therapy in schools. And while there are a lot of positives to this document as well, I read it over, there's a lot of good things. It does include a lot of things that are concerning, including further language that could deny services for things other than behavioral data. This could lead to a reduction in ABA therapy in our school system and thus putting more stress on our teachers to manage maladaptive behaviors without support. In special needs classrooms in particular, teachers are often performing many jobs at once. And in these classrooms, children often need additional supports like communication, academics, and behavior management. I'm requesting a meeting with the district to have a roundtable discussion for how we can best work collaboratively to support our special needs children. I urge you to listen to the feedback from both providers and parents so we can work together as a team. I know there's a lot of parents and other providers who would also have liked to speak tonight, but we're not able to write a speech within the 24 hours to make it today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Gebhards. My attention has shifted away from the books for a time, and I'm going to address a couple of various things that are troubling. First, I noticed that field trips are on the agenda today, and I'd like to say that your current in-use LGBTQ plus resource guide for all of your staff this year says this, quote, "For overnight field trips, a transgender student's comfort level with sleeping arrangements will dictate the manner in which issues are addressed." This is a violation of the law. HB 1521 states that that is illegal. There are similar problems with the language around bathroom usage for transgender students. The language at best is exceedingly fuzzy, leaning more toward a violation of the law. Quote, "Develop a plan and be clear with the student and parents' guardians, if appropriate, that the student may access the restroom, locker room, and changing facility that best provides for the safety and dignity of the students." Again, this is a direct violation of the law. And last, I want to talk about what happened at the board meeting on May 7th. I watched a fairly normal recommendation by the superintendent for a bus company. He recommended the purchase of Thomas buses, Florida Transportation Systems. No, sorry, that's Matthews, with the recently acquired federal grant. His team of transportation experts have researched and found that Thomas buses are better. And then some facts that I heard shared at the meeting and otherwise, as the Thomas buses were held out for comparison, and here's what I heard. They have a better warranty, 175,000 miles coverage, bumper-to-bumper paint chips, windshield wiper replacements, that the competitor Bluebird does not provide. It is also preferred by HCPS bus drivers. Also, they have a quicker response time for service compared to the other company, who seems to have caused frustration in our district with their lag in responsiveness. So we have already tried out Bluebird. I know some of you were suggesting, let's try it out. You've already tried them out, and they have a bad response time. Longer battery life, better collision mitigation, better safety features, on and on the list went. I didn't hear one board member suggest a reason that Bluebird was superior. All I heard was give them a chance. So, former Hillsborough County Schools General Manager of Transportation Jim Beekman said that he was flabbergasted that the board members went against the recommendations from the subject matter experts. It was all a little bit confusing until it was noticed that in the last month and a half before that, there were campaign donations made to those four incumbents that went against the recommendation of the superintendent. They received a campaign donation, a generous one, from Florida Transportation Systems, which is the owner of Bluebird buses, which is the company that they went with, which has less safety features and less things like that. So also of note, Beekman said that even though it's a grant, the district still has to put in about $1 million in infrastructure. So besides even that, the price comparison was better with the other bus company than the one that made your campaign donations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Tina Williams-Brewster, parent, also a parent advocate. Today I'm going to speak to you from a parent advocate perspective. You've heard my parent. As a parent advocate perspective, I'd like the board as well as the superintendent and those sitting behind me to recognize there is a dire need of ESC. There are huge gaps in ESC. We need to implore parents. There are lots of parents in the district, including myself, who are not being utilized. We want the best for our students. We need to try a different approach. What we're doing is not working. Our teachers are burnt out. More importantly, our students are burnt out. Parents are burnt out. We need to come together. I've told you time and time again, we're available. You all refuse to take the suggestions that we have that are solution oriented. ESE has got to change. What's the first thing that gets cut? ESC. When is Hillsborough County going to step up? When? We keep saying, oh, we're going to do better. This is a great time and a great opportunity to fix the minor things so that we can work on the major things. We've got to start looking at other ways to gain key people. We have a lot of people, but are those people in the right positions? I've been in this school district for 10 years. Trust me, I've seen it all. I have 6 kids. We're down to 2. I have seen ESC, gifted, 2E, you name it. I've seen it. I've experienced. I've got knowledge. A lot of these things that are going on at the local level, we have all this information, but what are we doing with it? We have all this data, but what are we really doing with it? If we want our teachers, I agree, they need to be paid. But unfortunately, there are some teachers, they got to go. If you want your money, show us why. Why? I'm completely flabbergasted why I wasn't on the ballot, but I understand. There are some teachers that are poison. We got to accept it. If you are burnt out, if you don't want to be here, there's the door. But if you're going to be here, understand your purpose. Those who can, do. Those who can't, they go.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alan Brewster, good evening, board members, superintendent. I want to talk about or give some information about some board members asking a question about the ESC litigation. And like my wife said, we came here in 2015 with 6 children. We started out at Chamberlain High School, Adams. There was a whole bunch of issues with ESC. I went to Henry Washington. He done nothing. And then we matriculated up the ladder. And then the superintendent appointed a district person to our case. I'm not going to call that person's name, but that person did nothing either. It was the persistence of my wife that got some of the issues resolved. And what I'm saying about the ESC litigation, it starts at the school. If you don't want it to go to litigation, start at the school. That's where the whole problem started. It started there, and then it left the building because they didn't commit it to fixing it and working with the parent and the student. You send the attorney in there in those meetings, it's not about the student anymore. Once you send that attorney in there, that's it. It's not about what the student is going to get. We have been through a lot of people in this district. A lot of you board members don't know what we went through with our children in this district. And we have dealt with a whole lot of people in the district. I'm not going to call no names, but they didn't help us. So if you want to resolve this issue and not have all these cases going to litigation and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, put a team at that school. Put a team in the district, people who are committed to making sure these students get what they need. Now, I will say this, 2 people that really helped me and my wife, Dr. Pansy Houghton and Deborah Mitchell. They were committed. Some of these other district people were not. Chamberlain, Adams, Ben Hill, Young, Jefferson, Gaither, we've been at it with these schools about ESC. You want to know? Call us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Greetings, honorable school board members. I'm C.T. Harris. Based on Member Gray's research, teachers are in critical condition and working several jobs. I agree. I can attest to that. I've talked to my daughter's teachers. I understand. It's a passionate job. You quoted 227,000 students and 18,000 teachers. But I implore you all to think about the amount of time you all spent earlier today regarding the discussion about the teacher pay and to pass and your rights. I do believe that you are an independent body and you should have those rights, but I also understand if the statute prevents that, that could be another discussion. But I want to talk to you today about the information you have in your records regarding the number of certificate of completions, the number of absent days amongst Black and Hispanic students, and the number of referrals being given to Black and brown students that supersede those in other ethnicities. If we are going to rally behind a referendum, we should rally around the well-being and the educational excellence of all of our children in every community, in your district, outside of your district. There's a bigger problem at hand. Our students should be a priority. Many of you said that today, and teachers need pay. Yes, I agree. I also agree that students need teachers who are capable of teaching and understanding diverse students. I have community members reaching out regarding their children being suspended with no progression for minor occurrences. That is unacceptable, especially those of the Black and brown communities. You have the data and the research. We expect you to make solutions. We elected you for that very reason. We understand that it is a heavy duty challenge, but we expect you all to do what you were elected to do. And that is for your constituents and even outside of your districts. We can't quote Martin Luther King when it's convenient and not embody his character, with which he stood for the equitable rights of equality, and not because it was a cute tagline, because a threat to education anywhere is a threat to education everywhere. And I'm not saying you misquoted, but I want to remind you to understand, if we are going to utilize and look up to our ancestors or those who have came before us, we've got to be honest in that. And so also, lastly, I will leave you with, I am for banning cell phones or alternative options to create a level of focus. It has been shown through studies that students age 16 increased by 6.4% of standard deviation, meaning that the academic performance increased. So I will also share with you that the presence of cell phones can be distracting, and mental health benefits. Listen, you know the deal. You understand it. You all are educated enough. You are elected for that reason. My time is up. I yield my time, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Board, to our chair, all the board, and also to our superintendent. I wanted to come and basically mention why we want to most definitely speak and continue to rally behind teachers to get what they deserve. I want to also keep in mind and ask if it's something that the board, our chair, our superintendent can do. When you go into restaurants, when you go to certain places, our Hillsborough County School, these teachers' badge ought to mean something. And I think that it'll be very good that our teachers, not only do they need pay, but we got teachers that also have to have affordable housing. The living situation is just as bad. You have, whenever you go, any law enforcement, they're able to go into a racetrack and get a free drink. They're able to go places and things are discounted. And I think that that'll be something that the board can look into with our superintendent to find out how we can rally behind these companies, whether it's Spectrum, whether it's whatever is out there, whether it's car dealerships, whatever, whoever can have those abilities to be able to give our teachers discounts on so many things, because we have to be progressive and we have to make sure whatever we do, that we do it to make sure that our teachers know that we care. And when they walk in and walk around with that badge each and every day, that badge means something, whether it's going into a store, whether they're going to their apartment complex and they get $100 and some off of rent that month, whatever that looks like. I would like for us to look into progressive ways and a holistic approach that our teachers can benefit from being teachers in this county. Every other first responders, they have it. Let us look into that and let's see what we can do to make sure that teachers are the are at the forefront, because when teachers come to work and they're happy, they're able to perform at a level of excellence that get our students where they need to be. And I most definitely think that while we're talking, we still have to make sure that we're able to do what's important to attract teachers to District 5 schools, because there, as we talked about it, we can increase pay. But what make a teacher want to work in a District 5 school, a Renaissance school? We keep throwing money. We got to make sure that we have safe places for our teachers to teach and safe places for our students to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Seeing no further public comment, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The consent agenda has been approved. Now, I will now call on Superintendent Ayers to highlight our administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, we have 3 principal appointments on the consent agenda this afternoon, and we're going to start with our new principal at Clairemel Elementary, Mr. Lewis Murphy. Mr. Murphy, if you could stand up and kind of make your way down here, please, sir. So Mr. Murphy began his career in HCPS in 2004 as a VE teacher and ESE specialist. In 2008, he was appointed assistant principal at West Tampa. 2015, he was appointed principal at West Tampa. And in 2019, he transferred to early childhood programs as director, where he served until 2022, when he was appointed to his current position as principal at James Elementary. Board members, the new principal at Clairemel Elementary, Mr. Lewis Murphy. Thank you, Lewis. Our second principal appointment is Dr. Gloria Waite. Dr. Gloria Waite is the new principal at Foster Elementary. Gloria, if you could make your way down here, please. So Dr. Waite has served 32 years of experience in education, 20 years in Hillsborough County Public Schools. She began her career in HCPS in 2004 as a resource teacher at Oak Grove Elementary. 2005, she was appointed as assistant principal at Mabry. She served as AP at Town and Country briefly before being appointed as principal at Mabry in 2008. She also served as principal at West Tampa in 2011, principal and special assignment in 2015, and finally principal at Clairemel in 2017. Board members, our new principal of Foster Elementary, Dr. Gloria Waite. Congrats, Gloria. And our final appointment this evening is Miss Angela Livingston, the new principal at James Elementary. Ms. Livingston has 27 years of experience in education in Pennsylvania and Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. She came to HCPS in 2010 as an assistant principal at Sulphur Springs, and in 2015 she was appointed principal at Broward, where she still serves today. Angela Livingston, the new principal, James Elementary. Congratulations, Angela. Madam Chair, those are the principal appointments this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. Congratulations to the principals. And we will now take a pause for those appointments and their families that would like to exit the boardroom. The following items will now be heard: C-102, C-202, C-203, C-402, C-403, C-404, C-405, C-502, C-708, and C-1001. Item 102, K-12 District Comprehensive Evidence-Based Reading Plan. Superintendent Ayers will now highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. I know you're all familiar with this with our CERP plan, but annually each school district is required to submit a district CERP to their school board for approval. The district must provide its board-approved CERP to the Florida Department of Education no later than August the 1st. The district plan must accurately depict and detail the role of administration, both district and school, professional learning, assessment, curriculum, and instruction in the improvement of student learning. Florida's benchmarks are best English language arts standards. This district CERP must reflect expectations for all schools and all grade levels, VPK up to grade 12. So after final approval by the Florida Department of Education, the district will make the plan available to all Hillsborough County Public Schools stakeholders. So, Madam Chair, that is item 102. And if you have any additional questions, Tracy Bergman, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, is here, who worked quite hard on the CERP plan to bring it today. So if you have any additional questions, Tracy's available.
I need a motion and a second to approve item C-102. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Vaughn. Member Vaughn and Member Combs pulled this item. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for this plan. I think it's really important. There's been a lot of conversation, whether it's in the media or whether it's just around about, how successful our reading readiness is and what our plans are around that. This is the big plan that we're submitting to the state that talks about, what we're going to do to address any deficiencies that we have. From the superintendent, well, first I want to make clear, we as board members don't write this plan. We don't come up with this. This is tasked to the superintendent and to the cabinet and the staff to come up with the plan and address the issues that we have. So I just want to make that clear. But how confident are you with this plan in growth in our reading readiness and the gains and what it's going to look like for our school grading next year when it comes to reading?
So this plan is a continuation of work that's been done over the last several years. And when we take a look, in particular, our biggest initiative, I think, thus far has been the implementation of UFLY and the foundational skills within K2. So this plan takes this and continues that work and also shifts that focus to keep going with K2 and the work we're doing, but also really focus in on 3-5 and the implementation of our Tier 1 instruction. So in terms of confidence, I feel like it's the right direction to move for the district in order to really see the improvement in proficiency. We know that proficiency tends to be measured in grades 3 through 12 for our state scores, but all of that work happens in K2. So we put those in place. We're going to continue to monitor. It was outlined in the plan in terms of the supports we'll continue to provide. But we also really need to take a look at our instructional materials, our instructional guidance, and our professional learning around the core, because that's what every student gets, and that's what they need to be successful. And so when my team and I began to develop this plan, that was where we set our focus, is what can we do to impact the most students so we can truly move the proficiency. And I feel like this is where that is our starting point, and that is our goal for this year, and I feel like the actions in the plan do outline that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Superintendent Ayers, where are you feeling? I know we're still kind of in the middle of the state deciding which model we're going to use for test scores, and that's been a lot of conversation around that. Since we're talking about releasing our reading plan to the state and what all that entails, what are your thoughts based around the next, admission or the next time that the test scores come out? Do you feel confident that with this plan that's been in place for several years that we're making the gain that we hope to and the expectations are going to be met?
Thank you. Great question. So first off, the state board meets tomorrow, and during that meeting they will adopt, you mentioned about school grades, so the state will board this new grading scale for our schools. But we've seen tremendous growth, especially from K3 this particular year, as we've mentioned before, about our 5 percentage point gain for grade 3 proficiency, which is a great start. And I think all the we put in place this past year is really going to allow us to accelerate over the next number of years, because our target is proficiency, and we were able within school grades to get gains that help with school grades. But our target, and this team's target, is always around proficiency and having our students proficient. It starts at grade 3, having our students proficient in grade 3 in reading, which will then lead them to college and career readiness and being able to graduate on time with their peers. But tremendous confidence with our team and the results we've seen out of the gate in 1 year.
Thank you. And is it fair to say that within the last few years in being aggressive in this plan, what we're really focusing on is teaching the basics of phonics to our early readers? Is that a good way to summarize this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions I had.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Holmes?
Thank you. I had a lot of the similar comments and questions because we've talked a lot about this. is that, and I appreciate your leadership, Ms. Bergman, coming in here. And one of the things that we've talked about a lot is the early learning and some of the strategies. And prior to coming in, I think some of the districts, although we were teaching phonics, I think it was things were happening in different areas, in different pockets of the district. And now we're really looking at a consistency. Can you go a little bit more over that and how that has changed in the last year or two?
Sure. Several years ago, the state instituted, I want to say it was House Bill 7013, which put the requirement of explicit systematic phonics instruction minus what was considered the 3 queuing system, which included a lot of previous practices that were employed by the district, that included using leveled readers, that included using running records, that included teaching around words instead of teaching them how to sound through the words. It was about looking at pictures and guessing words. So kids became really strong guessers. Until 3rd grade, when they take at the time it was FSA and now it's FAST, when there's limited amount of pictures, so there's no option to guess other than to read the word. So when the state instituted that, we were actually ahead of the game in terms of looking at our data and looking at our projections and looking at programs that were out there. Several years ago, we instituted the Literacy for All campaign in conjunction with ESE, in conjunction with ELL and MTSS, to really look at what can we do to provide training and support around the early reading skills aligned to the science of reading. We began by training administrators, we trained district leaders, and then brought that down to teachers, and then ended it kind of with the kickoff of the implementation of both DIBELS and UFly, which is where we are today, headed into year 2 implementation of that work.
Okay, great. That's what I was going to say. I think it's really important to realize that with DIBELS and UFly, although we are going to see some gains, it will probably take, let's be realistic, these students who are coming in kindergarten, they are now in 1st grade. So you're really going to see the impact probably in about 2 years. Is that correct?
Yes. When you take a look at the kindergarten STAR data, again, they take the early literacy data, you do see a large amount of those students, 58% I think was the number of the raw data, that are sitting at proficiency. So when you compare that where we are currently at 3rd grade, which is at the 51%, hopefully the idea is that we won't lose anybody along the way, right? We'll continue to grow the proficiency and be able to master that number by the time those kids are in 3rd grade. So our goal from a district standpoint is to really monitor that kindergarten cohort from last year and see what their progress is, see what their gains are, what happens in 1st grade when they shift to a different version of the STAR test, and kind of keep going and following them along to really see what that impact is. So we're excited to see it.
Okay, thank you. And if you can continue to keep us updated on that progress, to see that, because I see so many of the, so much of some of the funding that we received from ESSER, we put a lot of implicit instruction there, and we purchased a lot of books and a lot of phonics books. So I'm really curious to see as we move along how those students compare to the students, years ago in 2nd grade. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Bergman. You've done an excellent, comprehensive job. I wanted to ask a few open-ended questions. The first question is, and Superintendent Van Ayers alluded to this, so our goal is, and your goal is, school-level proficiency consistently in the low-performing schools. Low-performing defined as what, 40%?
So we're taking a look at our school's historical data over the last 3 years. That's generally how we report it. And taking a look at schools that historically have been below that 40%, while they may get the learning gains, as Superintendent Ayers alluded to, they're still not to that level of proficiency where I consider them solid in terms of their instructional practices, in terms of their use of materials and in systems and structures within their planning and coaching at their sites. So those are the schools that we're really looking at, are those low proficiency schools to target our district support with, to target our coaching and our specific professional learning as we work alongside the regional superintendents and school leaders to really make that difference this year.
And also the data suggests, and I think it's more than suggests, the data has come in that we were at 46%, but now we're at 51%.
In 3rd grade.
In
yeah,
3rd
we went
grade.
From 46 to 51 in 3rd grade.
51. So we have, in fact, made some progress using the phonics Member Combs mentioned and all the other tools that we have purchased. And last, what I wanted to say and have this validated by you, we have heard comments to get back to the basics of reading, writing, and math. But if you look at an elementary school instructional minutes, which is 300, I find, and correct me if I'm wrong, we spend 120 minutes on reading and writing, 60 minutes on math. Now, I know the pull-ups. I used to teach elementary. So it looks to me that 180 minutes, to me, suggests that we spend and we have an emphasis on reading, writing, and math. Would you agree or not agree with that?
I mean, I would agree because I think our school schedule is designed to maximize instructional time. I mean, there are certain mandates that we can't change. Kids have to eat lunch. They have to go to recess. They have to go to specials. I mean, there are things that have to happen. But I think, it's 120 minutes for literacy, but that doesn't, it's not to exclude social studies where literacy is brought in, and our elementary supervisor has done a wonderful job including that. It's not to exclude science. Again, we have some materials that we cross over between, the science instruction as well as the literacy instruction. So it's probably even safe to say that the minutes are even higher than that when you look at the inclusion and you look at the types of learning that the students are doing across the day, minus some of those mandates. So I have to say that our schedule is built with the student in mind, to try to maximize that day.
As an individual school board member and one that's very concerned with the basics, and as an old-fashioned teacher, reading, writing, and arithmetic is what we need to focus on. Let's get those done before we deviate to other situations or electives, etc. And I'm glad to hear your validation of that being done. Thank you.
Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is 202, request for proposals, Edgenuity Enhanced Digital Curriculum from grades 6 to 12. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. And once again, an agenda item I know you're all familiar with. But this Edgenuity coursework will be utilized by students throughout HCPS in middle schools, our K-8 schools, high schools, adult ed, ESE career centers, and our DJJ sites for course recovery or grade enhancement. Their courses feature rigorous, explicit instruction led by expert on-screen teachers and allow district teachers to incorporate their uniqueness into the course. Edgenuity also includes instructional tools for students with disabilities and for English language learners. And for the first time, it's important to note with this agenda item, the Workforce Division has partnered with to finance 50% of the enhanced digital curriculum expenses for students in grades 6 through 12. So this is a split cost with our Workforce Division. So that is item 202, and we do have Dr. Matt Hoff, who's our Director of Virtual Program, Michelle Luongo, Director of Adult Ed, and also Christy Rayburn, she is over there, our Executive Director for High School Programs. If you have any additional questions with regard to our credit recovery, credit enhancement, Edgenuity software. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate this. My question, and I addressed some of it earlier today, was where in this list of where we use Ingenuity do our success centers fall? Does that fall under our DJJ, or where does that fall under the category?
Red button. Okay.
I forget all the time, too. It's okay.
Yes. So the non-traditional programs, success centers fall under that category. Also, DJJ programs, career centers, and ESE centers as well. We do use Edgenuity in those programs. They support us very well. We made some big steps this year. I mean, after your visit, I know we had a conversation, but we have some actually some certified teachers in those schools as well. We got allocated 2 certified teachers in both schools, language arts and math. However, Edgenuity is our core performance in high school.
So, did you have more you wanted to say? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. So just to add on that, on the data on the previous outcomes, all the stuff that's in Mr. Wood's area is under high school programs. So non-traditional and traditional programs are all under high school in there. So all that data is related to traditional students and non-traditional students as well.
Okay, I appreciate that, because from my understanding of the way that we use this tool, and again, I spoke with Mr. Murillo today, is that it's enhancement and supplement of an explicit instruction already for our students who are struggling. Am I understanding the use of this tool correctly, this program? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that's how we're using that. And I appreciate the allocation in our success centers that now we have certified teachers who are going to be helping our students who are on Ingenuity. What I don't want to see and what my concerns are, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, is that we're just sticking kids on that in lack of giving them explicit instruction with certified teachers. That this is a tool to enhance the instruction we already had and not just a tool that we're using in lieu of that for our most fragile students. And so from my understanding, with the exception of now social studies or civics,
Right. Social studies and science, actually.
everywhere that we're going to be using that in lieu of those areas in our success centers, it's going to be supported by a certified teacher with this program. Is that correct?
That's correct. Middle school will actually have certified teachers. High school will have a language arts and a math teacher.
Okay. Any?
And so also with HV K-12 Credit Recovery, which falls under me, supports Ernest Schools at Brandon and North Tampa. We send 5 teachers to each one of those schools every day throughout the week. There's a lab manager in the lab, and then each day a certified teacher in each one of the subject areas, math, science, social studies, and English, floats to each one of those schools every day to ensure that a kid has a certified teacher. It's the same exact model we use in our traditional schools, and it's also used in Ernest Schools as well to ensure the kids that are not just on a computer lab, they have a lab manager to ensure for behavior and things like that. But the certified teacher is the teacher of record that floats from each one of those schools to ensure the kid has what they need. And that's been in place for several years.
And while I appreciate that, again, when we're talking about our most fragile kids who we're doing everything we can desperately to get back in our traditional path and give them a chance at success, I expect more than a floated teacher to support our kids. And what I would really like to see going forward is a certified teacher in science and civic social studies in the success centers where we're lacking. Because, you know, floating is a lot. There's time. There could be stuck on an interstate. If there's a kid who needs support in that subject, they should have access to that, again, especially in our schools where we're trying to support our kids who need more support than maybe our traditional students do. So that's something I'd like to see and love to have a conversation about going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you, Member Vaughn. You know, I was able to experience Ingenuity several times. There was a child that I knew who ended up doing Hillsborough Virtual, and they were able to graduate because of Ingenuity. And I know that it really impacts graduation rates. So I think it's great. I also know a child who's been in multiple foster homes and has been to multiple schools, and Ingenuity is something consistent that they can work on. My biggest issue is, Mr. Wood, how many students right now are in Tampa North and Brandon? I mean, how many students do you anticipate?
So we're going to start the year off with about 60 to 70 students in both sites.
Okay, so 60 or 70 students. And so a little bit of my frustration is that seeing those students when they were going through Ingenuity, they really needed a lot of support when it came to the math. So if you have one math teacher who's covering 70 students and one English teacher, if you have 2 certified teachers and you know that fluctuates. Sometimes you have upwards of 100 students in that area, and these students are really behind with credit recovery. My concern is that we're putting students behind computers. I know there's a huge shortage of teachers, but it would be nice to have not only just an additional science person, but somebody who also has assistance with math, because you're talking students who are taking from Algebra 1 to all multiple subjects. So the idea that we didn't have certified teachers up until a year ago, I would like to see an increase of that. I think those students deserve the most support, because the goal is to transition these students back into the classroom. Is that the goal from these Tampa Epic North school that falls in my district?
That is correct. Some even graduate. We graduated a couple students from Brandon Success Center this year.
Okay. And what percentage of students are completing, like graduating, who've gone through?
Rarely do we send 12th graders there, but this year we had 2 students graduate from Brandon, like I said earlier, but most students are transitioning back to their traditional school.
Okay. And I would imagine that some of the students feel frustrated if they're stuck somewhere and they can't get past. I know what the programs are like. You can't continue to move on Ingenuity until you answer the questions. So let's say a student gets stuck on something with math and they don't have assistance. That can really affect their graduation rates. Is that correct, or affect their graduation?
Yes, most definitely, yes.
Okay. So I also would like to see, the district moving in the direction to providing more support and more certified teachers in these schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Seeing no further comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 203, Master Services Agreement with Hillsborough County Schools Succeed LLC, subsidiary of MGT of American Consulting LLC for external operating services. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So HCSS will provide educational support to 11 of our schools, and those are Yates, Waimama, Kingswood, Tampa Bay, Boulevard, Potter, Bing, Eisenhower, Foster, Robles, Sulphur Springs, and James. As the school turnaround provider, HCSS will work closely with the district to dramatically accelerate student learning and move the school grade to a C or higher. MGT has successfully improved outcomes in 12 of our schools from 2019 to 2024. And Madam Chair, that is the item for MGT, item 203. And Shay McCray, Deputy Superintendent, and also Rick Graves, our Chief of Schools, are here if you have any questions regarding our support to our 11 schools I just outlined. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Ayers, I need a motion and a second to approve item C203. I have a motion by Member Rendon and a second by Member Washington. Member Gray, Member Vaughn, and Member Combs, you pulled this item. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Because it affects 11 of our schools, I definitely wanted to have a little conversation. I first had a very difficult problem mentally having MGT or any consulting in our schools, our high-need schools, and I know we began this in 2020. However, I went ahead and did some discussion with Ms. Shayla McCray and some of the principals, and now I find myself saying or thinking and believing that there is true evidence that this consulting company, which was to me not my most popular choice, and really not wanting to admit that our low-performing schools were something that we couldn't fix on our own, but they are in fact helping our students succeed, and they are in fact helping our scores, our test scores, and our principals are accepting this. And Ms. McCray, with the permission of the superintendent, can you go ahead and expand on the positive relationship we now have with MGT?
Yes, we started our relationship with MGT back in 2020. It was in an effort, we had two things that we were trying to do. Number one, at the time, we did have D and F schools, and there were schools that were in need of an external operator, which is a state mandated service that we needed to have. So there was the need to provide services based on state statute. We also decided at that same time that we would go ahead and provide services to schools that looked like they were heading in the same direction. And so MGT served as an external operator as well as a turnaround support provider so that we could try to stop the bleeding. Over the last 4 years, they've worked with 12 of our schools, and all of the schools we've seen improvements. They even have schools that have gone from D's to B's, and so they've done a really great job. They work very well with our transformation network. We work very collaboratively with schools, and MGT, what we find the difference between MGT and what we're doing as a district, our district teams are serving a cohort of schools, and so our transformation network serves about 12 schools per region. With MGT, they have dedicated staff that's at the school 3 to 4 days a week. And so they're able to have their staff stay at the school multiple days in a week, where our Transformation Network team rotates around to their cohort schools of about 12.
And what is the emphasis that they have now? As of course, the big flavor of our district right now is literacy. And how have they influenced, or let's just say goal setting, emphasized early learning literacy?
So MGT is a multi-pronged approach. They work with the leadership team, that's the principal, assistant principal, and the coaches on campus to create a strategic plan of support. They bring in math coaches as well as literacy coaches. And so those coaches are working side by side with teachers during the planning process. They model lessons. They do data analysis sessions. They also support students in small group when we have students that are in need of intervention. So they are a multi-pronged approach to supporting the school and supporting the teachers in the school.
And thank you for all that information, and I value what you're saying. Also, do the principals, can we blanket it and say our principals are comfortable with MGT?
Yes, they are very comfortable. I will say at the beginning of the relationship, we had never had external partners before, and so everybody was a little apprehensive, but MGT has really built relationships with the schools, and they look forward to their coaches, look forward to their transformation specialists working with them, and so we just met yesterday. We have a great relationship with MGT.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Ms. McRae. That's all of my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate that explanation, because that was one of the things I was going to ask, is what you see the success that the outside consulting or management company has that we're not able to offer. And what I'm hearing you say is you're attributing this to success specifically to dedicated staff, reading coaches, math coaches who are in our schools, at those schools specifically, who are able to support the teachers in planning, instruction, small groups. That's what you're attributing this success to.
That's right, dedicated staff to those schools. Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page about that. I appreciate that. My question is we're approving this for 11 schools now. We approved it for 12 schools last year, but even though there's one school less, the price is substantially higher. Are we offering more services, or what's the reason for the increase in price?
That's a great question. So over the last couple of years, they have worked in the same schools. We've seen some success, and as you know, we've been exiting schools out of transformation because we have sustained progress. In this new iteration, we are actually going to expand MGT into our traditional sites that we find are fragile Cs and that are struggling. And so when they go into a new site, they do what's called a comprehensive needs assessment, and that's an additional cost. So the additional cost that we see here is a 1 year, one-time cost. If they were to stay at these schools for more than 1 year, you would see that cost go back down. So we are paying for that initial comprehensive needs assessment.
Okay, I appreciate that explanation. And then I guess my next question would be is, if we're identifying these schools need these extra resources, and from what I'm hearing now, it's not just state mandated. We're looking at our fragile Cs, we're being proactive about it, we're putting the systems in place and, to make sure our schools are successful. What happens when, and we've had this conversation over and over again, I'm hoping to get a more thorough answer, what happens when these companies leave? How are we still supporting these schools? What does that look like?
So one of the things that we've been doing is we work together on systems and structures. MGT sits with us, and we learn from each other. We adopt systems from each other. Whenever we have MGT leave a school, we make sure that they have sustained support and that the school understands the systems and structures, and we believe that the school on their own are able to maintain all their systems, their planning. The leadership has a tight hold on data analysis, understanding curriculum. And so whenever MGT leaves, the hope is that they've built capacity at the school, and those schools will sustain without their support. We know that we can't have MGT forever. That's not their plan, and we can't afford to have them forever. So the goal is always to build capacity at the school site with those folks that are at the school site.
And one last question, I appreciate all this. Do we have an example? I mean, Potter was before I got on the school board, but I know there was a lot of conversation around Potter previously. Was that one of their success stories? Where are we at now?
So Potter is the first time that we will have MGT at that school. So Potter,
that's the first time.
Yeah, so Potter would be a school that they're going in. I'll give you the success story where MGT has been amazingly successful. So we have a school like Folsom. They were at Folsom, as well as McDonald Elementary out in the Seffner area. Those schools started as D schools, and now we're working our way to B schools at those school sites. So they've done an amazing job. We will not have them at those schools next year because we feel like the reading coaches, the math coaches, and the principals very much have a handle on what's happening at the school, and they will be able to sustain that progress and do better. So those are some success stories from MGT.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Ms. Vaughn.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Seeing no further comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We're now going to close the board meeting for a moment and go into our public hearing. E01, public hearing on the adoption of the revised policy 5136, wireless communication and other electronic devices. I will now open the public hearing for the revised policy adoption process. This is a requirement pursuant to state law and board policy. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak about the policy that is recommended for adoption by the board and to provide input to the board. The policy was advertised and has been available for public review. Mr. Porter, School Board Attorney, will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. Before you tonight is the cell phone policy, which was originally introduced by Member Gray and Member Combs. The board has spent a lot of time on this. You've had workshops. We've received valuable feedback both during the workshop, before the workshop, and after the workshop. And also after the workshop, Ms. McCray reached out to principals and staff to get further input. As a result of that, you actually have two versions tonight in front of you, as well as the procedures that would implement the policy. This is a little bit unusual, but given the timing of school starting and the importance of this policy to the board and to the public, we're just going to have a brief discussion about it tonight. You have two versions, version 1 and version 2. They're very, very similar. Version 2 is slightly more restrictive in the sense of that it deals with elementary and middle schools and only allows their use before and after school, but allows high school students to use the phones during lunch. That's the fundamental difference. There are other smaller changes with it. Commissioner Rendon had some changes that we incorporated about administrative staff and teachers being able to decide when cell phones could be used. At the end of the day, the important things to take away from this are that during instructional time, cell phones may not be used unless specifically directed by the teacher, staff, or administrative staff. It also allows principals to enact more stringent requirements at their school, so it's a school-based decision at that point. But this captures the comments the board have made during previous workshops and also the comments that you provided to Ms. McCray and staff as we develop the policy. So basically, and I know it's confusing, potentially confusing that we have two versions. Version 2 is the more restrictive one in the sense that it specifically only allows high school students to use the cell phone during lunch, not elementary and middle school. So that's the major difference. Otherwise, and the changes that Ms. Rendon suggested about adding administrative and or administrative staff. That was something that came up after the workshop as well, but made a lot of sense, and so we included those in there. So those are the policies. We would need a motion to approve. The superintendent's not making a recommendation on this. This is your policy, but you can either, we need a motion to either approve version 2 or version 1. Again, version 2 is the more restrictive. Version 2 is the more restrictive. So we need a motion before we can discuss, and if you can just identify which one you want. So, Ms. Gray, yes.
Permission?
Do you have a, yeah,
So
so we need
the
a,
public first, yeah. So it's a public hearing, so we'll hear from the public first, and then you can make a motion.
do you have any comments, public comments for the policy?
This is a public hearing. Anybody in the public can speak, whether you've signed up or not. Okay, then it'll be appropriate. Seeing none.
Seeing none. Board members,
Ms. Gray, I think, wants to make a motion.
Okay.
Or do you?
well, we have, do you want to make a motion for
Version 1.
version 1? or version 2? Okay, so, yeah.
They both reflect the principal's comments and board member comments. It's just a question of the restrictiveness of middle and elementary schools. So, and Ms. McCray could talk about what the principals decide. And so the other piece of this is that we haven't gotten into is what belongs in a policy and what belongs in the procedure. And so this policy is a little more robust, and it includes things in here just so the public is very clear about what the board's intent are. And so that's sort of the difference as well.
Which policy
Version
is more?
2.
Version 2, okay. So, Member Gray, your
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go with version 2. However, I'm looking at the expressions of the board members, and I have to say clarification will be needed to, before we make a motion, I know you spoke about the differences, but I couldn't write fast enough. And I think Member Washington also is confused as well, myself included. Can we have more of an explanation, different, the different
Right.
versions?
I mean, the major difference between version 1 and version 2 is that version 2 prohibits cell phone usage by elementary and middle school, except for before and after school, but allows high school students to use cell phones during lunchtime.
That's 2, right?
Version 2.
Okay. Okay.
It also allows, in both versions, allow the principal to make the decision of if it could be more restrictive, and allows teachers to decide if the cell phone can be used during the school day during instructional time. Yes. That's the major difference. I mean, there are other tweaks, but they're not substantive. That's the substantive difference. Yes. Yes, that's a major difference. I mean, there's some wording changes, but substantively, it's that same thing.
Okay, well, then,
We need a second. You have a motion by Ms. Gray. Are you seconded? Okay, so a motion by Ms. Gray and a second by Member Combs.
is that for
Version 2.
Okay.
it's version 2, Member Hahn.
This doesn't make any sense.
You can begin discussion now. She put something on the floor so you can discuss it. If you disagree with it, you can argue against it and vote against it. But that's the way you have a discussion.
Member Vaughn, you have a discussion?
Thank you. I appreciate this. Who physically wrote these policies?
Ms. McCray was responsible for both of those.
Okay. So from the way that, I mean, I'm looking through them and I see differences, but I don't see in version 1 where it talks about elementary or middle school using that at lunch. But you're saying version 2 is more restrictive and doesn't allow that, which would indicate version 1 does.
Version 1 defers a lot of what I just talked about to the Student Code of Conduct and Procedures. It's not in the policy. And that's the major difference about whether the board wants to state its intent through the policy by being more specific in the policy as opposed to the procedures.
Okay, so
And that's your decision.
to reiterate my understanding of what you just said, is that version 2 explicitly says that it can only be used during lunch for high school,
Correct.
whereas version 1, again, leaves that more up to the actual school decision
Correct.
themselves, even though it's not explicit in the policy.
Correct.
Okay. Also, there's some different wording, but it seems to be the same
It is.
about where they're kept. So one says it should be kept in a designated, I believe version 1, in a designated area that the teacher assigns, but then it also goes on to say it could be kept in the student's backpack or in their personal area. And then version 2, is there a difference in when they're not in use, where they're to be stored per version? Because I'm confused by that. Is that an answer? I don't know who's answering it.
So I'll go ahead and respond to that. Where the students store the phone is totally up to the school. There are going to be schools that might have pocket sleeves where the kids come in and drop the phone off in the pocket sleeve. It could be expressly said, we want you to keep your phone in the backpack. So that is really that's a procedural thing of where they want the phones to be kept. It's really more that the phones are off right, during the school day, and they should not be used during the instructional day. So in the first policy, it does not explicitly state what happens in elementary, middle, or high school. That would be then leaving it to the school to kind of create the procedure that they want to follow. In the second one, we expressly say that phones could be used before and after school only in elementary and middle school, but in high school, they do have the opportunity to use it at lunchtime.
Okay, and then based on feedback that you've gotten from our schools themselves, do you feel like in middle and elementary school they want that autonomy to decide whether they want to use it for lunch as a positive behavior? Or do you feel, I think that's the question, which one do the schools want? Or do you feel that they want more guidance from the board to say it's taken away completely in those in elementary and middle in version 2?
I think you'll have a mixed review on that. I think you're going to have some schools that 100% don't want phones out at all. It causes a disruption. And you will have schools that say, hey, as an incentive, it's okay for them to use phones. I may use it as part of our PBS. So I do think that you have schools that have different views on that.
Okay. Okay. So I appreciate that. This honestly has been one of the more challenging policies. At first, I thought it was more of a clear division between what parents wanted and what our employees wanted. But as I've talked more, it's even split, as you said, between employees have different feelings and parents have different feelings. So while it's come a while for me to even come around to this policy. I do see the need for it. I tend to want to do the least restrictive one to start with and get feedback on that, because unless I'm wrong, we can always then tweak our policy to be more restrictive if we find the beginning version of the policy and the autonomy that we might be lending to elementary and middle school is actually causing more problems, and we get more guidance that we should take it out across the board. I tend to want to lean towards, if we're going to, be more aggressive with this policy, start to and get feedback from our schools and our parents, because I think this is going to be, even though it's not that much of a change, I mean, it's what we've been asking for our schools to do in general. I think there is going to be a little bit of a shock adjustment to it, and I'd like to get more feedback before we go more restrictive. So while I won't vote for version 2, I would be open to 1 based on the information you've given. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
I tend to disagree. We've sat here for over a year, and to me, version 1 is exactly like before. There is no difference at all. I've sat here for a year. We've had groups come. We've had parents come. I mean, I have seen it at Webb Middle School. They implemented it last year with huge success, with low referrals, less fighting, less violence. We talk about the problems with books. The problems with phones are huge. You have students who are videotaping fights. I had a student who actually talked to somebody into fighting so they could videotape and fight for them. These things are occurring. I mean, what you're looking here, we had the student forums. Initially, I really felt like we should restrict like the rest of the country and a lot of the state. I felt like we should, and based on the Florida statute, I really was leaning towards elementary, middle, and high school and being very restrictive. But I have to say, after the student forums that we had last year, when I spoke to the high school students and they told me the issues that they had with connectivity and Wi-Fi and the issues and how often they use it in the classroom, I thought, let's implement elementary and middle first, and then let's see how it goes and go from there. When we talk about the issues of violence, the issue of profanity, the issues of distractibility, these phones are a huge issue. When you see someone fighting and someone's videotaping, it's very different. And when I see a child who's having basically a seizure and everyone's videotaping it instead of helping someone, it is time to do something. This version 1 is just watered down. Why are we even here for it? Why did I spend a year talking about it? This version 2 at least allows, we've seen it in the urban core. I've seen it in from Odessa to West Chase, and it is working. You can ask those principals at Webb Middle School and Walker Middle School, and it is making a very positive impact. The students, I walked into those schools. They're talking at lunch. They're communicating. It is what it's all about. Let's take a stand on this. Come on. Parents want that. Schools want that. You've got these first graders with phones on their wrists, for goodness sake. If you're worried about the safety, that child still has the phone in their backpack. You know, years ago, I was safe and I didn't have a phone. These kids still have phones. We've got to take this distractibility away. Other districts have taken a strong stand. It's time for us to take a stand, and today's the day. I'm tired of bringing this down. Keep talking about this, and we're going to do nothing. I mean, what are we wasting a year for? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I think what took myself off guard is the second policy, because we've gone over the first policy. We had a workshop on the first policy. We brought it to a hearing in the first policy, and then all of a sudden we've got a second one. So, again, my concern is, and Mr. Porter, you're going to have to give me some clarification on this. If we create a policy that is so stringent like Policy 2 is, for example, in the location of the phones, right? Because right now in Policy 1, it gives the flexibility of the teacher to designate a separate area where the phones are, but in Policy 2, it must be in those other areas. If we do that and a teacher deviates from that and a parent has an issue with that, does that now come across with our policy and make us liable?
No, it does not. And I think it's a great question. But I think if you look at the language starting on line 14.
Which one?
On version 2, line 14 through 16. Right before you get to where it is, and it's the unless expressly directed by teacher, staff, and/or administrative staff. So the teacher still has flexibility with that. And it goes beyond that to where it's stored, but that's the intent there. And so as for your liability question, no, I'm not worried about a teacher being held liable for that. That goes back to the autonomy of the school and the principal and the teacher.
Okay, because again, when you say, you know, and/or administrative staff, that was for the direction of whether they could take it out during instructional time. But then it goes in there and it talks about specifically where it can be housed. So again, when I look back to the statute and the law, it specifically talks about instructional time, and then it gave the flexibility. So because of the fact that we want to give that the law was meant to give the authority to the school and the teacher, and so by us becoming more stringent, we're taking away that flexibility by the school. Am I correct?
I think it's still there.
So that's why I'm a little concerned.
It's a great question. It's a great discussion, but I think it's still built into that to give ultimately give the school the autonomy. It just makes it explicit the board's intent to not allow it during elementary, middle school, unless as directed. That's the intent.
Okay, so and I've got to go back to the fact of our own procedures, that we had a workshop under one policy. We made changes to one policy. We brought this back at a meeting not too long ago in a first reading of one policy. How at the last minute are we doing two policies and have to vote on it?
Oh, so after the workshop happened, as I said, Ms. McCray took it to the principals, and there were changes made based on the input from the principals. There were also changes that several board members up here, including you, brought up, and we incorporated in. So because the timing of this that needed to be done at this before school started so the principals could be informed, typically we would have had another workshop and we would have gone through it, but just the timing wasn't there for that. So it's a public hearing, it's fully transparent, and these issues that we've raised are being discussed now at a public hearing instead of at a workshop, mostly because of timing and mostly because of what happened after your workshop.
Okay, but after the workshop, after the workshop, we still brought version 1 here for first reading.
Were brought, so for advertising purposes, because we did not think it was not appropriate during that meeting, which was advertising only, to discuss the substance of it. So both versions were brought and both versions were advertised.
Okay, at the end of the day, I understand that, but
I hear you.
I just think that it went outside of our workshop that we were together before we have a second version. So, but the bottom line is version 1 clearly was directly related back to the statute and was not as stringent. It became more stringent outside of what the statute had. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Sure. I hear you.
Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The reason for this policy stemmed from two rationale statements. Number one, would academic performance have more fidelity if the phone is absent from the child. As a former teacher, I absolutely cannot imagine teaching with cell phone competition. Second part is that drove this policy is there's an actual Florida statute 1006.07 requires the district school board code of conduct include a prohibition against students using wireless communication devices during instructional time and authorization for teachers to withhold a student's device with an exception for use at the direction of the teacher. So also legally following Florida statute. Now, if we go into the affective domain, which many of us can relate with, what happens to a child during a school day, especially after COVID, is tremendously socially, emotionally, it endangers the child as far as their depression, their anxiety, their chronic sleeplessness. When we have distraction, and I'll speak again, I'll put a teacher hat on, and Val Chuchman, you can put yours on. There is nothing more difficult teaching a math problem, teaching reading, if a child has a graphic of a nude picture on the phone, if there's a bullying sentence on the phone, if there is something that alerts a child for immediate response, how can that child focus on a phonic, whatever, the basics, the reading, writing, arithmetic? We'll go back to that. There is no way in heck that I can compete as a teacher, even here on the school board dais. I can't do both things. I can't do a cell phone and concentrate on public comment, concentrate on staff feedback. It's impossible. Now, why I went to this policy and why I would like it a little bit more strict is because it's an addiction. These kids and adults are addicted, I'm sorry, if some of us are, to the cell phone. And unfortunately for our children, it damages their emotional and social growth, and I'm sure Member Perez appreciates that. They are being interrupted, and their sleep is being interrupted. Their well-being is being interrupted. Now, conversely, let's look at Webb. Let's look at some of the schools that have taken it out. Ballast Point, Hill Middle School, Greco, Abundance. Now they're playing chess. They're playing outdoors. They're not having all the bullying. I mean, the conversion of a real child happens when the cell phone's taken away. All right, so all of this means maybe something to school board members, maybe not. But I will tell you, I have 2 grandkids, and I worry about what they have accessibility. And ex-Mayor Lott, you have a grandchild now. We worry about what access they have on their little phones on their wrist and on their, free time. But the problem in my mind is how the principals can monitor this situation, and this goes back to where the superintendent or Ms. McCray. How can the principals monitor it? We're putting more work on them, perhaps, if we don't make it a clear Band-Aid ripoff. Because once you start having let's try it out for 1 year and let's see what happens next year. You're either going to buy into the cell phone is an addictive concept here, or you're going to go ahead and kick the can down the road. Now, my grandchild, I don't want to kick the can down the road because that is critical in every one of your children. So we all know intellectually what the cell phone addiction means. So I think it's high time, as Member Combs said, that we start being more reactive right now and say, just like Louisiana just said, no more cell phones in the classroom. That's the whole state of Louisiana. So that's my 2 cents. I will vote for the number, pragmatically, the second choice of the cell phone.
Thank you, Member Gray.
Door. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I think this feels a little uncomfortable because it feels a little bit like a mix of a workshop and an agenda item. And, when we're at a workshop and we have these open conversations, then we have some time to digest it before it comes here. And though we've all reviewed this, I think, even I had a lot of questions when I had my one-on-one around the similarities and differences. So I will just say my 2 cents. I don't want to do this again. My preference would be one policy come forward and we hash this out, even if we have to call a special call board meeting. But we are here in this moment, so we need to make some decisions. I appreciate my board members who want to give all the autonomy to each individual school. But I do feel like there needs to be some continuity across all schools to give everybody kind of a starting place, and then with version 2, principals and teachers have some flexibility to make those decisions on, do we want to use them for lessons in the classroom or do we not? So I also feel like when you're first doing this, we need to actually go to what some would call extreme, because I do believe if we're getting a lot of pushback from schools and families, it's easier to pull it back a little bit than make it more stringent moving forward. It's not as easy to tighten the rules or make the rules. It's easier to pull it back. And so, I think that, we do have many issues around cell phones in schools that version 2 would address. And I also worry, too, that, principals and teachers have a lot on their plate. And in version 1, now you're asking them to make this decision. And I can only imagine on a school-by-school basis, the schools that have gone to the more strict side, they've probably had to come up against a lot of pushback and a lot of meetings and conversations, and that really cuts into their time to lead the school and to be teachers. So I think, taking a little bit of that off their plate and saying, look, we want this across all schools. This is where every school will start. Gives a really good foundation for that, but then also the autonomy for principals and teachers to make those little adjustments based on the needs of their school. And I do really think that it would be much more difficult to come back in a year and say, oh no, we need to go further and it needs to be stricter, versus, maybe it's too strict and we need to walk it back. So that's my 2 cents. I also feel strongly, my children go to a school where there's a strict cell phone policy, and it does create a very different climate and culture on a school campus that affects kids positively in many different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for those thoughtful comments. While I understand this is passionate, I don't think that there needs to be an insinuation that if we don't agree on any version, that somebody intellectually doesn't understand an addiction to a cell phone, or that we're wasting time here, because either version is substantially different than what we've had before. So I don't appreciate insinuations that if I don't agree with the version, that there's something fundamentally wrong in the way that I see things. So that's the first part. But the second part is, I'm confused by some of my fellow board comments, especially Member Gray, who's talking about the challenge of cell phones in the classroom. Either of these versions takes away the cell phones in the classrooms. Am I wrong? Okay. I just want to make sure, because from other comments, I'm hearing other things, and I'm very confused about that. So regardless, this policy is very different in the way that unanimously across the board, it takes cell phones out of any instructional time out of the classrooms unless specifically needed by the teacher for something instructionally. Am I wrong in that? Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify, because I'm getting really confused with some of these comments that are being made. Also, I heard something completely different at our middle school and high school forums. I heard complete panic and fear and upsetness from our students at the idea of losing this access to their cell phones, and lots of pleas of why they use it and how they use it for school and what it means to them. So I'm not sure if we were in different forums, but across the board, what I heard from students was anxiety. Now, that doesn't mean that this isn't a good move or I'm not going to support it. I'm just confused that some of us are having different experiences in these forums. So again, to clarify, the difference is we're talking about in middle school, in high school, so we're not having a congruent policy in either. No matter what, we're making an alliance or an allowance for high school to use cell phones at lunch.
Correct.
So there's no, okay, that's, so what we're really talking about, aside from a few discrepancies, which have been unnamed, are the fact that whether or not middle school and elementary kids are going to be able to use this only at lunch, correct? Not in the hallways, not during instructional time, not in the classroom. What we're talking about is if a middle school principal wants to use PBIS incentive time for a lunchroom circle for kids who have been on track all day long, and we all know, any of us who have been in middle school, that there's very limited currency when we're talking about positive behavior reinforcements, correct? I mean, that's the truth. And if a school principal and that school identifies that this is something that motivates their students to stay engaged during the classroom, to be on track, to meet their goals, whether they're behavioral or instructional, we're saying in version 2, we're taking that right away, correct? Anybody?
So again, the policy always allows the principal or the teacher or administrative staff to allow it if it aligns with instruction. Version 2 doesn't allow it at all, but there is always that autonomy that's going to be at the school. If for some reason, for incentive purposes, if the principal wanted to do that, it would be allowed. But version 2 just spells out that's got to be affirmatively allowed. High school's allowed to use the period at lunch. That's sort of again, I think you really summed it up, Member Vaughn. The policies are, no matter which policy you all adopt, you're doing something. And you're taking a stand. It's just a question of slightly more restrictive or not. But there's always going to be autonomy at the school, always. And that's important.
So in version 2, default middle school, elementary kids cannot use their phone during lunch unless the school specifically or the teacher specifically allows that to be used.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you. I think probably the most important thing is this back page is the big difference with the versions. When you look at version 1 and 2, I think if you look at the graph, it really kind of spells it out a little bit more clearly. And I remember when we did have that reading, the first and the second version, and I actually went out to some schools this summer, and the principal said the first version just doesn't have any bite. There's no real clear direction. When you see the second version, it's a little more clear. And if you look at other districts in Orange County, they went all the way elementary through high school, and they abided by the law. I'm sorry, there's just a conversation. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about the back page that has the graph that really. Yes, I know, but I'm saying, that's part of it that clearly goes with version 2. It's the policy, and then the procedure is. I know it's the student handbook, and it goes in the procedure, but it's attached with version 2, right? It's so that back. Okay, so it's a little bit more clear.
Member Combs, just to interrupt you for a second. So that's included. So you see, no matter what the board does, the board's given guidance. And whether you do it in the policy or the procedures, it's going to be accomplished.
Right, and it's going to be matched up. The other thing is when you look at other districts like Orange County, they went a year ago, they went elementary all the way through high school. They haven't had any issues with the state law. They've actually had lower suspensions, lower issues. At Webb Middle School, not only were there less fights on campus, the biggest thing is there were a lot less fights off campus, because often kids coordinate fighting after school on the phones and things that are happening throughout school, and they're arguing and they're building up the issues. So at the end of the day is when these issues are occurring. When you look at schools, Webb Middle School, the suspension rates went down, the fighting on and off campus went down, the vaping in the bathrooms went down because students are coordinating when they meet in the bathrooms and when they're vaping. There's so many issues that are occurring with the phone. So I believe that we need to have a more restrictive policy. And just like Member Hahn said, we're still giving autonomy to the principals, but it's just a little more clarity and a little bit more clear and a little more structure. And I think from my experience when I go out to schools, that's what the principals are looking for. They want that. It takes a really strong principal at Webb and at Walker, to Webb Middle School, to be able to stand that and go through maybe 700 or 800 students and transition as a second-year principal and have such a strong policy. But she told me that the parents, the students, everybody was so happy at the end of the year. But more importantly, there were more academic gains and there were less issues with fighting and less issues with discipline. It was remarkable with the numbers. And Ms. McCray, did you see that in some of the schools? I just want to see your feedback when you saw some of the schools. I know Mr. Grays, you're new to your position, but anyone who oversaw middle school, if you could tell me if you've seen an impact and what that impact looks like in the elementary or middle schools who have implemented a stronger policy on phones.
So what we do get from schools that have implemented stronger policies around phones is that they do have less disruptions, right? Because the phone is a disruption. Kids are talking and texting with each other. When the phones are put away, there is less disruption. I will say on the flip side, if the phone is part of a positive behavior system and the students have the opportunity to earn a reward, they respect the phone a little bit more, right? Because they're not using it for riffraff, because they know that if I do, right, great things in the classroom, if I don't get in trouble, then I can use the phone in a positive way. So I think that there are some arguments for both. But yes, we do see a reduction in suspensions, behavioral incidents when students do not have access to their phones all day.
And a lot of times in the classrooms, the teachers are using the phones, which is okay when they're using it for academic gain.
I was going to tell you that a lot of times the teachers are using the phones for Kahoot, right? If they're doing quizzes, if they have the opportunity for students to do research, sometimes they do Socratic seminar and kids have a few seconds to go and research a topic and come up with some pros or against for a debate. And so we do sometimes see phones used in a highly effective way academically. Also, what we also see is sometimes if there are, let's say if we are doing student government and the kids want to vote for who their class presidents are, sometimes they use QR codes and those are opportunities to use it sometimes in a non-academic way. So there are various ways where phones can appropriately be used. We want to prevent the inappropriate use of phones.
Okay, thank you. And one last question, something I didn't bring up that I know from having, a student having a high school student not that long ago, the amount of cheating that is happening with the phone as far as taking pictures of tests and sharing answers and homework. Have you seen such an increase of that?
I can't say that I have directly heard an increase in that, but I have, I can see where that could be an issue.
I mean, when you have an access to a phone and you're using it all the time, you can use it in so many different ways. As I said, I'm not going to talk about this again. I've been talking about it for, the last couple years. I'd like to see something more strict, and I think our teachers are looking for that, especially elementary and middle. It's going around the nation. Our surrounding districts have all supported that. Pasco County, Pinellas County, Orange County, all these other districts are restricting that. We're the 7th largest district in the nation. You've seen entire states do this. Let's do this. It's time.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to clarify, Superintendent, this past school year, you did send out a procedure that you instructed all of our elementary schools to basically have the policy that you, during the school day, that you requested that it was not being, it was being put away in backpacks. Even though we didn't have a policy, that was something that you implemented this year in part of your procedures. And then in middle school, it was all but at lunch, unless a school chose to do it differently. Am I correct?
That is 100% correct. Those are procedures that I outlined last year. This either version is just policy to those procedures that I put in place. But you're absolutely right. What's going to happen next year in our schools between elementary and middle, the big difference here is middle school now in this policy would not be able to have those cell phones out during lunchtime.
Correct. So when I reviewed, and I'm thankful that in both policies, no matter what, we address inappropriate use of phones, whether that is any kind of naked pictures, any kind of filming of fights, any kind of filming of inappropriate materials, if cheating or fraud. We've addressed this in our policy. So thank you for everyone that put that together, because we've addressed it in both policy A and policy B, or 1 and 2, whatever we want to call it. So we've covered that. We've covered the fact that we've had this policy now for a year, as it was in 1 is what we had for the last year. And so if I look over our behaviors from 2021 until 23-24 school year, overall, majority of behaviors have come down a bit in percentage-wise for all of our age of schools. We've had issues with the referrals and type of referrals, but behavior has actually come down over the course of the last 3 years. Am I correct?
That is absolutely correct. That is correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that in Ms. McCray, I believe we've had some quoting on what we've seen differently in school A to school B. Do you have any data from the schools that removed cell phones 100%? For example, I'm sorry, what middle school was it? I'm sorry.
Webb was the one.
Webb, yes, I'm sorry. And there may have been others. I'm not sure if there's others. There may possibly be others. Do we have that data that it was significantly different than other schools in the same comparison?
So those principals touted that their data was different. I don't have that data in front of me to be able to say specifically to answer your question, no.
Okay, so we don't have that in front to verify. But what we are doing, what A was what you, number 1 is what you recommended last year, meets statute, and still was sufficient for the last year's school year.
That is correct. And just in version 2 just adds in, as we mentioned many times, it adds in that high school may have it out during lunchtime. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Washington.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have a quick question, because I used to be a principal, and mainly principals, they pretty much run the school. So did we get any feedback from the principals on 1 or 2 or what?
Right. So, and Ms. McRae, if you want to jump in on feedback from principals, but we want to make sure, and the procedures that we put out, as Ms. Rendon mentioned earlier, the procedures we put out, I believe our principals want some guidelines of what for them to follow, right? And that's upon us to do that for them. We trust in them to run their schools, and we give them the ability to do that. But what this policy does, better than, and I guess this puts to, as Ms. Rendon mentioned, that was the procedure last year that we put out. This policy basically gives teeth to that procedure, and allows our principals to have those guide rails, but then also provides them that flexibility. If they want, as we mentioned, around PBIS and offer usage of their phones during the day for positive behavior intervention, it allows for that as well. But we need to get this policy completed, and I'll take my name off here. But heard loud and clear. This having 2 versions, this won't happen again. I'll make sure in the future we have 1 version that we bring forward, because this is a lot of dialogue for a board meeting, and this feels like a workshop. So moving forward, board members, I'll assure you that we'll have 1 version moving forward. This is my recommendation, not have 2 versions here to choose from. So my apologies.
Okay. My question though was it any principles? Was it more leaning towards 1 or 2? That's my question.
No, I think you had principals that were for a more stringent policy, and you have principals that wanted to create their own procedures based off of their PBIS plan or their behavioral plan. So no, there wasn't necessarily leaning one way or another.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Gray.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to call the question. Mr. Porter, can you make it clear?
Call the question. That's a motion. You need a second. Okay, there's a second by Member Combs. This is not subject to debate. Calling the question means debate ends now, and you would vote on version 2. So if you're in favor of stopping debate, vote yes. If you want to continue debating, vote no. This is to call the question, Ms. Rendon. If you're in favor of stopping, I didn't know if you heard. Thank you. If you want to stop debate and just vote on the motion, vote yes. If you want to keep talking, vote no. Okay, the motion failed 4-3, so debate will continue. If you could clear the board, and I believe you were in the queue, and Mr. Ayers, and then Ms. Perez.
Board Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I don't have a problem supporting 2 as long as I understand that there is autonomy with the middle and elementary schools when it comes to lunch. My problem is it doesn't say that in this policy. When you look at policy version 2, it talks about the use of the wireless communication is always prohibited during instructional day. That's the instructional day, unless expressly directed by a teacher, staff, or administrative staff. That talks about the instructional day. Then when it comes down to lunch, it says use of a device is restricted to before and after school. Students in high school may use phones during lunch. A school principal may impose more restrictive conditions at their school. It doesn't speak to in any way, might allow it, might give any autonomy to it. So that's my problem with the wording on this policy is you're saying one thing, that it gives that autonomy to the schools, which I don't have a problem taking it away at lunchtime and allowing the school to make that decision for 2, but it doesn't say that in this policy clearly. So in order to get this policy to reflect this, do I have to make a motion to add wording to it, or what are our options here?
Your intent would be specifically to make it clear that in elementary and middle school that not only during the instructional time but during lunch that a principal may allow it.
Correct.
Is in for 1 or 2?
For 2, we're talking about version 2. That's the only thing on the floor right now is for the motion.
Yeah.
So we could add that, the language of.
We need to get permission from fellow board members for that?
Well, I think you would make a substitute motion to include that language. You don't need to do the wording. You just need to say your intent, and before it gets finalized, we will draft it and incorporate that. So, do you want me to try it, or do you want to do it?
Sure. I would like to make a substitute motion on version 2 to explicitly say that along with instructional time, that at lunchtime, middle school and elementary school principals or teachers have the ability to allow it under their authority.
That's a second.
No, because on
We need a
one they would
second.
have.
Okay, let's, before we talk, we need a second on that. So is there a second? There's a second by Member Hahn. So you can debate that. And basically what that does is it still is a stricter policy. It still is restrictive, but it makes it clear, which has been implied before, that they have the autonomy to do that in their own school.
Just makes it more clear from
Yes.
what you told me we already have.
Member Combs, I don't know if you heard that. So she made a substitute motion to approve version 2, but give authority to principals for elementary and middle to allow it during lunch within their autonomy to do that. So that's the motion on the floor. The substitute motion, we need to vote on that, debate that, and vote on that. If there's any discussion about that, you can do that now.
Is there any discussion?
Okay, so this is all we were doing now is voting on including that in the main motion to give the principal autonomy at lunchtime in elementary and middle school. If you're in favor of giving the principal autonomy at elementary and middle school at lunch, vote yes. If not, vote no. Okay, that motion passed, so that will be part of the main motion now. So the main motion on the floor that is still being debated is version 2 with the addition of everything else is the same, but it gives the principal the authority at lunch in elementary and middle schools to allow it. It's up to the principal. It'll be a school-based decision. That's
And
the motion on the
Mr. Porter, so thank you, Ms. Vaughn, for the clarification there, because I think the way that it was written, I think the intent was when you look at where it says, except when expressly directed by a teacher, staff, and or administrative staff, I think that was the intention, but it's not really clear there, so I thank you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's a good summation.
Yep.
So with that change, I'll support version 2.
If there's other comments, Madam Chair, unless you want to speak.
I can't remember which of the board members. No. Which of the board members asked for numbers in the schools? Oh, Member Rendon. So Greco had 1,396 referrals for 23-24, and Webb had 669 referrals, and Walker had 128 referrals. I didn't look that one up. Yeah. I didn't look at that. I just looked at 23, 24. Okay. So seeing no other
With the board voting on
questions
is
or comments?
version 2 as amended. And it passed unanimously.
Okay.
Oh, you need to close the hearing then.
Okay. And with that, it closes the public hearing. We're going back into the board meeting. We're going to hear item. Now I'm going to read the following agenda items together. 402 items. 402 are negotiated economic salary proposal with Hillsborough Classroom Teachers Association for instructional and educational support professional employees for 24-25 school year. 403, negotiated economic salary proposal with Hillsborough School Employees Federation for 24-25 school year. 404, economic salary proposal for non-represented employees for 24-25 school. And 405, economic salary proposal for administrators for 24-25 school. Superintendent Ayers will highlight these items.
Thank you, Chair Perez. So first off, all these items, as Chair Perez mentioned, 402, 3, 4, and 5 are all of our salary economic proposals. So first off, I want to thank this board. You all were clear upfront as we moved into the summertime and over the spring to make sure that we had all of our negotiations completed moving into this next school year, and to be able to bring these agenda items to you in July and for the new pay rates to be realized in this first paycheck of this new academic year is really unprecedented, and represents the commitment from our bargaining team members, union partners, this entire school board. So this is, I don't want to undersell what we're doing here today. To have our negotiations completed with all of our employee groups is a huge step for us as we move into this entire school year. So just thank you, board members, for your pushing us to get to this point to where we have all of our negotiations completed before teachers, most of our employees, return on August the 2nd. I do want to thank some folks as we move into this. I'm going to go by first thanking our chief negotiator, Danielle Shotwell, along with Dr. Patton, our chief financial officer. Where's Ms. Johnson? There's Ms. Johnson, Ms. Garcia, somewhere, and Ms. Arja, and our principal representatives. Many don't realize we have principal representatives that sit on negotiations, and that was Christina Alvarez, Justin Yeomans, Jamal Crook, and Ernestine Woody. So we'll start with 402, which is our CTA, so I'm going to kind of outline some of those. But again, this is a big day for our school district to have all of our salary proposals completed and hopefully voted upon here in just a few moments. So we'll start with 402 by itself, and then I'll move to the rest. So 402 first, then we'll get a vote on that. 402 represents, ACTEA represents approximately 13,200 instructional employees and 3,600 educational support employees. All eligible ACTA instructional and ESP employees will be moved one step on newly agreed upon salary schedules effective July 1, 2024, resulting in starter teacher pay being increased to $48,000. I do want to note that within this negotiation, we did move from $47,500 to $48,000, at least have some movement on the that first step. All of our HCTA and ESP employees at the top of their respective salary schedules will receive a one-time $2,000 additional payment. All eligible instructional employees will receive a one-time additional payment of $1,500, tentatively scheduled to be paid on August the 9th. I think it's important, and board, you were very clear on that one as well. Our teachers start back on Friday, August 2nd. That first paycheck for all of our employees is that next Friday, the August the 9th, which would have been a one-day paycheck. Board, you made it very clear with one-time additional payment, which is of the $1,500. That will be included on that one-day paycheck to the $1,500. So, board, thank you for giving the direction on that. In addition, all of our eligible ESP employees will receive a one-time additional payment of $2,500 to be paid in two installments. The first installment was the $1,500, as I mentioned, on August the 9th, and the second installment of $1,000 is tentatively scheduled to be paid on January 10th, 2025. So with all these employee groups, on that Friday, August 9th, all of the new pay rates will be on that first check, and then the $1,500 one-time payment for our employees. Big day when we had these negotiations completed. Big night tonight as we look to accelerate and get everybody back. I know everybody's ready to come back. for our first day as we start Friday, August 2nd, with most of our employees returning back. This is a big step to have these negotiations completed. So that is 402, and my comments for 3, 4, and 5 will be a little bit briefer, but that is 402, which highlights ACTA in our ESP employees for 24-25. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Member Vaughn and a second by Member Rendon. Does anybody have any comments? Yeah. Member Gray?
Without the attorney, I'm not real sure if I want to go ahead and include all of this, and all of this, 402, 403, 404, and 405 in remarks.
Mr. Yeah, could I highlight each?
Yeah, so I think the way procedurally you can make a motion we get a motion on the floor to approve all 4 of the items, and you can discuss them and vote at once. That's how it's done on that, so that'll move the meeting along. So go ahead.
Yep, so that is our HCTA. If I can quickly then maybe highlight the other.
He's going to highlight them all, and then we'll put a motion on the floor to approve all 4, and then you can discuss them.
Yep. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'll move to 403 real quick. So 403 is our HSCF salary proposal. HSCF instructional support employees include approximately 4,400 employees, including custodians, student nutrition, bus drivers, bus attendants, maintenance, and security, among other job types. All eligible employees will move one step on a newly agreed upon instructional support salary schedule, again, effective July 1st. And just like with our other one, all of our eligible employees will receive a one-time additional payment of $2,500, and that once again is the $1,500 on August 9th and the $1,000 for our HSCF on January the 10th. So they'll receive 2, our HSCF and ESP, $1,500 on August the 9th, and then followed by the $1,000 for a total of $2,500 on January the 10th. So that is 403. 404, this is our non-represented employees, and non-represented employees include approximately 1,250 employees, such as head custodians, secretary fours, our SNS managers, administrative secretaries, accountants, analysts, tech support reps, among other job types. And once again, these employees will move one step to a newly agreed upon instructional support salary schedule, again effective July 1. All eligible non-represented employees at the top receive that one-time additional $2,000 payment. And then all eligible non-rep employees will also receive the additional $2,500. Again, the $1,500 on August 9th and the $1,000 on January the 10th. That's 404. And finally, 405. Those are our administrators for the 24-25 school year. Administrative employees include 950 employees, such as principals, APs, and other site and district administrators. All administrative employees will be placed on the newly developed admin salary schedules effective same July 1st, and all administrative employees receive that one-time payment of $1,500 scheduled to be paid on that August the 9th. So that is 402 through 405 for the economic salary proposals. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a big day for Hillsborough County Public Schools to have our salary proposals completed before the year ends. And again, thank you to the board for allowing this and pushing us to get this done before the year started. So thank you, board members.
So the appropriate motion to make would be for item 402R, 403, 404, and 405.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for us to include 402, 403, 404, and 405, and then have discussion.
So you have.
I have a motion by Member Gray, a second by Member Vaughn. Any discussion?
Yeah, we'll get.
Any discussion? No? All right. Vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We have discussion. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to say this is a great day, and I'm sure all board members will say the same. It's a great time, and it's so deserving of all of our employees. And thanking so much Dr. Patton and Ms. Garcia, Ms. Romanier, and Ms. Shotwell. They worked their hearts and heads out for this result. We know this is stopping the bleeding a little bit because a bigger picture is what we discussed on the special call board meeting. I wanted to make sure that it's clear, and I'm sure we all are reminded of this, and Ms. Romanier, CFO, you may want to remark that the total of $88 million will put us in for the next year in an operational deficit. And I'm looking at Ms. There you are. Okay. It will put us in an operational deficit, which means, and this is for the newly adopted budget coming up. Is that correct, Ms. Romanier?
Yes, we'll be in operation deficits around $20 million.
Okay. So my concern, and I know I dwell on this, the fund balance will probably be lowered, and correct me if I'm wrong, from 21% to perhaps 15%. Would that be fair to say?
That is correct.
Okay. So always with caution when we are doing all the so deserved bonuses and steps, but I just wanted that to be out also in the minds of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I echo the sentiments of thank you to everybody who worked so hard on this. CTA, all of the unions, our additional unions, everybody in the bargaining table. Thank you, Superintendent Ayers, for being so dedicated to get everything that's done. To my fellow board members, obviously, my feeling is it's never enough, right? For our educators who show up every day on the front lines with our kids. It's not enough, but it's a good start, and hopefully it shows to our employees that even if we're not getting the revenue that we hope for, that we need in different avenues, whether it's from the state or whatnot, that we're going to find a way to be dedicated to our employees and the people who show up every day for us. I also think that in a time where we're so divided with education from what we see, the fact that, we work together with our with our teachers unions and our labor unions and as a board and with the superintendent in conjunction for unity to make sure that this happens in an unprecedented way that we've never done this early in the school year, to start the school year off right, again, to demonstrate to our employees how much we value and care about them, speaks volumes, especially in this time. So I want to say, pat on the back to everybody involved with this, and just thank you so much to our employees, and hopefully, again, this helps somewhat, right? Because it's not enough. I would, Ms. Johnson, like to make a point to Member Gray's point. That is with the anticipated loss of a huge amount of students, which we may or may not true up depending on what it looks like after the count, right? That's worst case scenario with what the state has forecasted as far as the loss of students for the different scholarships. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're adopting a tentative budget with the cuts already in it, and when we true up, that'll change the scenario based on if our enrollment increases.
And in past, it's always been that we've gotten more students than we anticipated, so we're hopeful about that.
We're hopeful.
Okay. Again, I don't want to take away from the celebration, and just again say thank you to everyone. And I'm very excited to start off the school year. I hope this sets the precedent that we're going to have a good school year despite the obstacles that we have coming up. So thank you again.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Member Perez. Member Vaughn, thank you for clearing that up, because what I don't want people to hear tonight is that our decision put us in a financial deficit, because it has not. And so I want to thank the superintendent and his staff and our unions that are here tonight for working so collaboratively, so quickly around this. As my fellow colleagues have already said, this is setting a precedent. Getting this done over the summer, it certainly is something that we strive for, but you were able to get it across the finish line. So I thank you very much for that. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate tonight and to have a really strong start to this new school year. It's a nice way to go into the school year. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a celebration tonight. I mean, it's really great. How long I've been in 42 years, I've never seen them. I've never had opportunity to see teachers come back, get paid as they come back. It's first time. That's Superintendent, you and your staff and Roe and the CTA and the unions. You did a great job. That's what we talk about, unifying, being in unity. That's so important. And I want to say congratulations, and I may have to borrow some money from you guys. I don't know that. So, but anyway, congratulations, and we're going to keep working. We're going to keep working so you can make more money later. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to just make sure that we have a clarification, Ms. Johnson. Last year was the first year of implementation of House Bill 1, which is where we had the prediction of losing so many students. And we ended the school year within 500 students of where we started? Okay. And we were predicted to lose almost 10,000? 7,000. So we definitely came in much higher than our predictions. And what are we basing our predictions on this year?
The state gave us our projections
Of what?
of the loss of students.
How many?
7,000.
Oh, I thought it was much more this coming year.
No, it's 7,000 students.
Okay. Well, thank you for preparing this, and thank you for putting us in a position in which we're able to make sure that we take care of our teachers, even though we know it may address our fund balance. I gave us the flexibility because of our fund balance to make sure that we were able to do that in a healthy way. To the teachers, the staff, the administrators, et cetera, at the end of the day, you are the heart and soul of our district. There is absolutely no doubt. Without you, we don't exist. My statement is, from the principal to the custodian, if we are not affecting you, we don't matter. So you are the ones that matter the most. And so we thank you so much for your efforts to put this all together, to have it done before the beginning of the school year. I still have my last one will be a senior. So I do understand tremendously exactly what you all do on a regular basis. And we thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that was involved in the negotiations. It is a huge lift. And thank you, Superintendent, and your staff for making sure we had it done before school starts. The way we're going to change the way the public feels about our teachers and our admin and our support staff is if we as a district show that they're first on our priority list. And when we show they're first on our priority list, we put a set of precedence to the rest of the public that we are a priority. And so I think that's important, that we continuously move in that direction no matter what we do, that always be on the forefront, that our teachers and our support staff and anyone supporting and directly in our schools, if we make our decisions showing that's the priority, our public will understand that that's where we're coming from. And I think that's the important part of how we need to make sure we communicate that to everybody. So thank you for everything that y'all done, and looking forward to a great school year.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Combs?
Thank you. And I want to reiterate what everyone has said. Thank you, Superintendent Ayers, for your leadership. I think this is the first time in 30 years this has been done. And I thank you to everyone, Roe Johnson, Dr. Patton, everybody involved, our attorneys, to be able, and especially to our union who's worked so hard, worked so tirelessly. I have to say, in the last few years, I would wake up in the middle of the night and think about our teachers and some of the things that they said, and talking teachers who came here who were homeless, or teachers who couldn't feed their family, or when I go places, I meet teachers who have 2 or 3 jobs. You know, it's so difficult when I see that. And I will say that I will continue to fight hard with every single agenda item, making sure that every fiscal decision is made with the idea of making sure that we pay our teachers and our support staff. I think it's really important. We look at our agenda items, and when we say our enrollment has not gone down, that is not true. There are thousands of families that have moved into Hillsborough County. We are busting at the seams. Homes are being built everywhere. And if you look in District 5, Shakes District, our enrollment has gone down. Incredible. So to say that we're not losing students and that they're not going somewhere else is not true. We should at least have thousands of more students, not looking at schools with 150, 180, 200, the population, and that's because if you look at West Tampa and Central Tampa, students have moved out out to South County because they can't afford to live in this area and teachers can't afford to work here. So that is not true. And when we fight, that doesn't mean just fighting for this. That means Pinellas County, that their voters approved by 80% for the referendum. And that means Pasco County, right where I live, which is very conservative, all of their school board members and all of their voters supported that. So teachers, you could have an extra 6,000. Support staff, you could have an extra 3,000. Do not be fooled. Keep fighting. Keep coming. Do not give up. We need you for your voice because teachers are the backbone of society. And if crime increases and there's a problem in our society, it's because we have 1,000 vacancies. Do not blame a child who hasn't had an education for 5 to 10 years and hasn't had a teacher. Those students in West Tampa and Tampa Bay Boulevard are waiting for consistency in their life in a few weeks. They're walking into a classroom with 18 substitute teachers. So union, do not be fooled. We need to keep fighting within this board and within County Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Gray?
I'll be brief. I just want to make sure, and this goes back to Ms. Romanier. I stated, and I just want to make sure, Dr. Hahn, that we're clear on this, that this operational deficit will occur because of the $88 million in the newly adopted budget for next year. Is that correct? Not this year, the budget for next year.
We're in the current fiscal year 24-25. We haven't adopted a budget yet, but it's going to be tentatively in a deficit when we adopt it and bring it before the board.
Okay, so that's for the next, okay. I didn't want to say this year. I meant for the following year. So, just to be clear on that point. And good news, didn't want to flip it down to a negative, but I wanted to have that out front for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. And I just want to also thank the staff and Superintendent Ayers for being able to, get to this final place and being able to get these raises for these teachers before the school year starts. Thank you. And the next, now we're going to go into, we have to raise, vote.
We voted, so
uh-huh.
that was, this was a little bit unusual. You did your comments after the vote, but.
We will now take employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it's sometimes difficult for employees of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. And with this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first 3 speakers.
We have 2 speakers tonight.
2 speakers, okay.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, Cabinet. First, I want to apologize for skipping the pleasantries last time. I was practicing the 1-minute drill and had to make sure I got it in there. So, also, I'm Valerie Chuchman, chemistry teacher serving as Secretary Treasurer for Hillsborough Classroom Teachers Association. President Rob Crete sends his regrets. He's at a national conference right now, but so we don't forget him, I made sure I wore khakis and comfortable shoes. So while we're bargaining year after year, and it goes into October, November, February, one of the most common questions we always get from members is, why isn't this done before the school year? Why don't I have a contract before the school year? So, hey, we did it. Really, we did it. So we truly appreciate the collaboration and honestly the sense of urgency that you guys gave this. The timeliness of this agreement is really going to help our employees. And it's hopefully going to help boost morale as we're going into the school year. And with that said, I heard many of you say it, and I think most of us agree that, or all of us agree that, it's still not enough. Until we get there, I hope that we're going to continue to work together and try to improve the working conditions for our employees. And one thing I constantly hear is these little things. It's just one more thing, just one more thing, just one more thing that they keep getting from administration or coaches or whatever. And if we could help to remove just these little things off of their plates, that would really go so far. So once again, appreciate so much having this settled before the school year. It's great, and I really hope that this does become the norm and not the exception. And I love that I wrote that, and then I heard that up here as you all were speaking. So thank you again. Have a great school year.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, Carissa Denica from Gaither High School. First, I was on the bargaining team, as I said last time when I spoke, and I really applaud the way that you had your bargaining team move into something that was a one-time additional payment, something that was not expected, something that's going to be appreciated by everybody. It was a really thoughtful and great way to run something without doing those reoccurring costs. So I think I applaud you, and I applaud the people that made that happen. Obviously, the pay increases aren't enough, right? I still can't afford to. I still have to be married in order to live, and not to a teacher. Can't marry a teacher, right? That's the rule. New teachers. But I really appreciate the time that you guys obviously spent into thinking about how to use that fund balance and put it in there. All right. So the other part. Thank goodness. There's some time in between things because I was fired up back there. In terms of credit recovery, right? These are for kids that have failed their regular explicitly taught class, and they are they got to go through some kind of a program, right? That's where we use Edgenuity, right? Failure is a part of life. We prepare our kids for life, just like it says. I failed today by not reading the agenda beforehand and not seeing that was going to be a thing because I would have made a statement beforehand. I failed my daughter by not signing her up. I thought I did, but I didn't sign her up for her Walker boot camp. And so she missed it and didn't get to go, right? Those are my failures, and then I have to figure out what's going to happen to improve that. Credit recovery does not do that. You have a policy at the end of the second semester of a senior, right? They're failing their class. They're failing something they need for graduation. You have a policy where they can start credit recovery before they have actually failed the class. Now, the idea here is a good one, right? Let's get those kids to pass. The problem is that those kids pass Edgenuity in 3 days. I've said this before. This isn't new information to you. There was a person I taught, but she didn't fail my class. She was an A student. There was a student in my class that went and had a sub in her classroom, could not learn the material. 2 days before graduation, started Edgenuity. She graduated. How? That's not fair. And that's your policy letting that happen. Fix it.
Thank you. See no further comments. We're going to move into item 502, Student Code of Conduct Revisions. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So item 502 is a revisions to our Student Code of Conduct. The Student Code of Conduct Revision Committee consists of 36 district and school leaders, teachers, parents, and external stakeholders. The committee was broken down into 5 subgroups that reviewed and suggested changes to the following sections of the Code of Conduct. vaping and drugs, disobedience, insubordination, fighting simple battery, non-attendance, and inappropriate use of technology. Additional changes were also submitted for the sections pertaining to medication and the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. So that is item 502. I do have our General Director, I'll say old Principal at Wharton, new General Director of the Student Code of Conduct and Supports, Mr. Mike Rowan, and also our Chief of Schools, Mr. Rick Graves. If there's any additional questions regarding the revisions of the Student Code of Conduct, we are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C502. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn, Member Hahn, Member Rendon, and Member Combs pull this item. Anybody want to get in the queue for comments? Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't want to supersede any of the other members that were pulled. So, Member Combs, do you want to speak first? Oh, okay. All right. So my question, and congratulations, Mr. Rowan. We're very, very pleased that you're in this position. I'm very familiar with the Student Code of Conduct because it's a big subject at least in my experience during the years in the school board. As we have talked about the technology, the inappropriate use of technology, and my fear and our fear that our young kids have been involved in misuse and bullying and physical threats to one another and sharing nudity photos. I look at page 7 and 8 in the manual here, and I'll call it a manual because it's quite thick. And this is going on number 40, where we have original definition, inappropriate use of technology, wireless communication devices. And then if we just scroll down just a second, just a few, when the possession of a wireless communication device disrupts the educational process. So my wonderings is, what do we do? What is the code of conduct? I have the answer because I have it on page 28. But what do we do, and let's just say a principal and or a teacher and or a coach, when they see the physical harm or the physical threats student to student via social media, via their cell phone. We have, for example, at one school called a Fight Club, and it was actually disturbingly with teachers and students meeting off campus to fight. So the severity and the consequences of that, to me, speak volumes. I also, being on the Human Trafficking Committee and Social Online Safety, know that students are sharing nude photos with each other. And what do we do about that? What consequences? And further, and everyone talks about bullying, but a lot of the bullying does occur through our cell phones, or not mine, but students, watch it, students' use of cell phones, and that bullying can deteriorate a child's attention span and well-being, obviously, in school and after school. So when we talk about inappropriate use of technology, now we have a policy that hopefully will eliminate a lot of that. However, where you're, and you need to just speak whenever you want, when we have a mitigation on page 28, what do we do when one of those three or all of those three occur? So we have here, it's called a safety online educational program. So when we have inappropriate use of technology, we actually have a safety plan, online educational program, and then they get a certificate of completion. So I'm not here as a board member to judge whether this is severe or not. I right now just want clarification. What does that mean when one of those three or all of those three occur? They get a safety plan. If you can just share. on page 28, that's what it says, right under inappropriate use of technology, and this is under the new code of conduct.
So there's a couple things that I'll say. First, new to the position, going through the student code of conduct, and then also even listening to the discussion about cell phones earlier, it needs to be revamped in terms of the matrix because there are different things. As Member Vaughn was talking about, you might have a teacher or a student who's on ESPN at lunch, and how are we going to work with that student and deal with that student versus somebody who's doing something to what you pointed out, like as bullying or nude pictures or something to that effect. The way the matrix is set up, and I think this answers your question, but the way the matrix is currently set up, that's why there's so much leeway, is because you have those two extremes. So we have to look at breaking it down to the more severe things, the less severe things, and how we address those. And I can't answer specifically in regards to that program they're referring to because I've never seen that before, so I can't answer what that looks like at this point.
And that's fair. And I've never had seen this in previous code of conducts, and I don't know who has the answer. But nonetheless, we need to have that answer.
I agree. I don't know what that looks like because we talked about it for several other consequences as well, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and Maggie, if you can just share it with me and all the board members via text or the email, that would be greatly appreciated. And again, I don't want to, I know this is a learning curve, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hunt?
Thank you, Member Perez. So with some of the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Shay and I, you and I spoke about this, and it looks like on the first page and a little bit of the second page, the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 kind of, and the Tier 3 build on each other. So Tier 1, Incident 1, this is what you have to do. Incident 2, you have to do all those things plus a few more. So I see that for quite a few of them. But then I go down to, gosh, I don't know what page is. Oh, 26. Page 26, and violation of district safety plan or contract. Why is there not Incident 3? Why is that blank? I mean, it can happen 3 times, can it not? Or is it twice and then what happens? I guess walk me through that so I understand.
Okay, so what I will say is, well, matrix has to be redone.
Okay.
Let's start with that. But going back to that, the idea where those gray spots are throughout the matrix,
yeah.
What the understanding is that the student would have had a COE at that point or change of environment at that point, so there is no consequence wherever you see gray. Okay. And going to that point, the matrix has to be relooked at. The changes as proposed now are fine, but it still needs to be relooked at all the way through because there are adjustments like that need to be made.
Yeah, because then when I move down further on that page, and there's some very severe actions.
Correct.
And then, when you're talking about aggravated battery, arson, homicide, kidnapping, sexual battery, for every one of those, they have 10 days of out-of-school suspension. And we all know that it's going to take more than 10 days to investigate any of those charges because they would all go directly to law enforcement, right, to investigate. And I guess, should that be in Tier 1, like report to law enforcement, just to make sure we're being explicit because, it's got to be in writing. But then 10 days are up. They're still investigating. Are you saying that they would more than likely have a change of placement so that way they're not back in the school where the sexual battery occurred, or?
So there's a couple things which you said. One is that in terms to reporting to law enforcement, so I've been working also with CESR, which is what we report to the state. Our districts around the state, their tiers don't have to actually line up to what CESR tiers them off to be, which is fine. But what CESR does do is it says these things have to be reported to law enforcement. So in our case, all of our Tier 1 are reported to law enforcement. There's actually 26 things that have to be reported to law enforcement. So they will be reported to law enforcement. And then the way the new Synergy referral system is, it's also supposed to happen this way. is that any of those that are mandated by the state to be reported actually are. You can't continue in the referral system without checking the box that you reported to law enforcement. So there's a check and balance with that. Okay. The other thing that you mentioned in terms of that first one, that's actually level 0. In our case for the district, those are just documentation areas. So they're really, again, the whole matrix has to be revamped, but those are just more for documentation more than they're anything else.
You mean for those more aggressive?
No, if you look, and it doesn't quite make sense to me, but level 0 is only notification and documentation. They are not. We start with level 1 as the most serious offense, when 4 being the least serious, but 0 is thrown in there and it's just documentation.
Yeah.
It's you, again, I can talk to you individually or come by and see you, but it has to be redone, and we're going to reword it and rework it.
But irregardless of it has to be redone, we have to vote on something tonight, right. Yes or no. And then, which this makes me uncomfortable, but, and then what is the timeline? Do we have to wait a whole year for you to revise this before it comes back?
No, I've actually talked with Mr. Gibson already, and we've got a timeline. In fact, I'm meeting Monday with principals and assistant principals to start doing it and to try to have something done and back to the board as quickly as possible.
Okay. Yeah, because this, and Shane, you and I spoke about it, really aligning, making sure it aligns to our policies. And I thought about that as we were discussing the policy for cell phones, is, making sure this aligns with that policy that we just approved tonight. I'm glad you're on board. Let me just say welcome to Hillsborough County Public Schools. And I look forward to meeting with you around this and hearing your ideas and how you move this forward and improve upon it. Because it definitely needs a lot of improvement, I think. And I'm not an expert. That's just a novice, but I appreciate you being here and look forward to meeting with you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Vaughn?
Well, first of all, Mr. Rowan, welcome. Secondly, I am really surprised this was brought before us in the state that it's in. It's very confusing to me. There's a huge amount of changes that are not very clear. I am surprised that something this drastic and change when it comes to our student code of conduct was not workshop before us as a board, especially since we obviously have so many questions as a board, and specifically with all the discussions we've had around student behavior and what that looks like moving forward as a district. Some of the page numbers I'm really confused by, where you highlighted some changes that either I don't understand or don't match the pages I'm very confused about. It looks like you've totally redone the Office of Student Engagement, the entire way that a change of environment is done. Now it goes through the regional superintendent. It's very different from before when it goes through the principal. I'm confused about some of these kind of levels of incidences. Now it looks like we're being very heavy when it comes to choice warning and removing choice as part of the disciplinary action. I'd like to have further conversation as a board about the impacts of that and what it looks like. I understand that we need to get this done, but talking about the new cell phone policy, the questions that Member Gray has, I'm just not ready to support this item tonight. So if it passes, I look forward to getting with you and really trying to understand some of these changes and the rationale behind it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Renton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I need to ask a question, first of all, is if we voted no on this student code of conduct today, the current one would stay in place until we revise?
That's my understanding, but I was going to ask the superintendent that question because until Ms. Vaughn made the suggestion she might not support this. We need to have an understanding. If this is not passed tonight, maybe Mr. Gibson can answer it, or maybe you can, but we need to understand what the effect of a no vote would be tonight.
All right, so we're not voting on this, and I'm going to withdraw this agenda item. I'll bring it back on the August the 1st. Being with the cell phone policy that we just did earlier today, there's some questions. I don't want the board to be put in a position to have to vote on something that's unclear, so I'm withdrawing this agenda item. I'll bring it back before you on August the 1st.
And just from a logistical standpoint, Mr. Superintendent, that will still give you enough time to implement it for the following school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, sir.
Looking this, I was having a good meeting until then.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now I don't know how it feels. I've been called by the wrong name at times as well. So I'm sorry.
Okay, so that is withdrawn, so you can move on.
Okay. Now we'll move on to agenda item 708, approve piggyback LG electric school bus purchases. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, in August of 2023, the district applied for the 2023 EPA Clean School Bus Grant to mitigate the substantial rise in expenses associated with electric buses. In January, we were pleased to learn that we had been awarded the grant, which would allow us to replace 20 diesel buses with 20 electric buses. On May 7th, the board approved the purchase of these 20 electric school buses under the Clean School Bus Grant. So I want to be clear, on that May 7th, we had this agenda item for a different 20 buses, and the board approved the purchase of those 20 on May the 7th. In February of 2024, the district applied for the 2023 EPA Clean School Bus Rebate Grant, which was another opportunity to replace older diesel school buses with electric school buses. In May of 2024, we received notification that we had been awarded this additional grant. So two different things, two grants. First time approved the 20. This is an additional 20 that we were awarded in May of 2024. Today, I'm requesting the board's approval to purchase the second set of 20 electric buses funded by that rebate grant. So that is item 708. And if you have any questions, I'm here for any additional questions. And Laura Hill, our general manager for transportation services, is also here as well. So that is item 708.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item C 708. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Member Gray, Member Hahn, and Member Combs, you pull this item. Member Hahn?
Thank you, Member Perez. It feels a little like deja vu. Woo. So a few weeks ago, we had another contract come before the board around electric buses, where you recommended Thomas Bus, and then the board replaced that recommended with pretty much a similar contract to what we're seeing tonight, correct?
Yes, ma'am. My initial recommendation on the May board meeting was the 18 Thomas buses, the 2 IC. Will of the board at that time was to split them, and that is my agenda item now. Seeing the will of the board back in May, my agenda item reflects the will of the board on the same vote we made in May, which is 9 and 9. Yes, ma'am.
So thank you for the update. For me, I'm going to just stand by my comments that I made last time and my decision, which is, I do believe Thomas, we should have a contract before us with Thomas buses because of the better price point, the longer battery charge life, the superior warranty. They're preferred by our own staff and bus drivers, their prompt response to maintenance needs, and their superior safety features. So I'm not really going to, go much beyond that. I'm just going to reiterate my reasons for why, I don't think this is the right contract for us at this time. I respect that my other board members' comments. I'm sure I'm in the minority, but I'm okay with that. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to support your recommendation this evening, Mr. Superintendent. I've already had that conversation with you before tonight. This is not a blindside kind of move. I just feel like I need to be true to my feelings. I think it would be hypocritical to not. And so that's where I stand tonight. Thank you.
As Chair Perez has stepped away from the dais, Member Gray?
Yeah, in the spirit of consistency, I'm going to stay the same, in the same lane and support both. The reasons are the same. I didn't even have a desire to discuss this other than to say that I'm going to go with the recommendation. Superintendent Ayers, there was a mention in public comment that this was not your recommendation. Can you say this is your recommendation?
This right here is my recommendation.
Okay.
What I want to make clarity around is at the May 7th board meeting, my initial recommendation was 18 Thomas and 2 IC. As that conversation took place, I could see the will of the board was to split those between Bluebird and Thomas, 9 and 9. And that was voted upon on May 7th. This recommendation from me is what was voted upon and approved on May 7th, which is to split the purchase between Bluebird, Thomas, and IC.
Okay, thank you, and I'm going to support
Yes.
your recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Combs?
Thank you. I'm also going to support the recommendation, but my question is, one of the things that we really talked about is like having a matrix. So, who got started first, how's it going, a comparison. I don't really want to have a matrix afterwards, so I'd like to make a request to do some matrix points as far as how things are going, what does it look like once they get on the road, the longevity, how many. So I would like to see that matrix ahead of time so that way we know what we're looking for when we compare both bus companies to see, is one bus company more efficient? I know I've heard that one of the companies still hasn't even launched, and one of the districts has been waiting a couple years. So even that, the time span it started, who's already contacted you, who's moving in the right way, who's moving in that direction. Are you having any movement so far with the electric buses, with either one of them?
So no, we haven't even been awarded by the grant yet from the EPA. So we are still in a waiting period.
Okay, and I would just love if your department would start thinking about the matrix that would really make sense, so that way we can compare both buses, because now we're looking at two big contracts, right? So in order for the next contract to come, I'd like to have some clarity on which company is providing the best service, and as far as battery charge and what it looks like for students. And I know most of those buses are going to be in District 5, and some of them will be in District 1, but let's do that early. And so that way we can start the timer once as soon as we get the grant, and let's look at, 5 or 10 things that we should look at to see which one is most efficient and which one is going to be the best for the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? No. Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. Okay, it passes with Member Hahn dissenting from the vote. The next item is 1001, piggyback on computer hardware, supplies, and services. Classroom technology, Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our last agenda item this evening, and this is the piggyback for computer hardware, supplies, and services from our classroom technology. This is to purchase technology required to meet the goals identified in the digital transformation roadmap for updating our classroom environments. This purchase is to continue to place necessary technology in all of our school sites. This one particularly here supports the purchase of 300 interactive panels, 15,000 laptops, 1,400 desktop computers, and 250 laptop carts. That purchase price is approximately $12 million. This will utilize nearly all the ESSER III dollars that were identified prior to those funds being expired. ESSER III dollars, as you all are aware, will be sunsetting September of this year. So this is that final purchase. So that is item 1001, and I'm here. And also, Mr. Weeks is here if you have any additional questions regarding 1001 classroom technology.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item C 1001. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Combs. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Surprisingly, I don't have any questions because Mr. Weeks did a very good job when I did have questions answering them. I would also like to take this moment, though, to say thank you. Hospital Homebound has been asking for wireless access points to make sure that they could serve our most fragile students with full fidelity, and I really appreciate you responding. That has meant the world to that group of our educators who go out and service our students who, are medically fragile. So I just want to take the time to say thank you for meeting that need so quickly and responding to that. So you're off the hook on this one.
Patty? Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank Dr. Weeks for making it a priority to have at least one-on-one devices in our schools. They may not be in individual classrooms, but they are one-on-one with each of our schools, and this puts us just a little bit over the edge to give us some flexibility as we move into possible transition of devices in the next year. So I think that's really important for our public to understand that we've used those ESSER dollars for technology very wisely and making sure we've got that. The other thing I'm very excited about is some of our boards within all of our classrooms and having that additional technology and replacing those. Not only does it give more capabilities to our teachers and our personnel, but it does bring a possibility of additional safety features for our students, for our schools, and we can be using technology to ensure that our students are even safer than where we are today. So I think that's exciting news. I think that's just making us a cut above other districts, and utilizing these ESSER dollars are great ways of doing that, because we really are focusing on direct student technology in which they don't have to refer to cell phones in their classrooms. They can have the technology there, as well as the student safety, which are two very important things to our families. And so for that, I greatly appreciate the way in which you've utilized these funds. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote when your light appears. And it passes unanimously. Now we're going into our superintendent comments.
We made it to the end.
Yes.
So thank you, Madam Chair. My superintendent's updates this evening will start around our academic, our pillar and our strategic plan around supportive organizational culture. So students across our district recently took part in the 47th annual AXO competition in Vegas. From visual arts and business to performing culinary arts, students work within the community The $20,000 check today from our governor. So we are, 100% behind Clayton. Can't wait to see. We are so proud of him. He is, again, one of the finalists. We will find out, and those of you that can't make it, we'll make sure and get that word out if he is indeed the State Teacher of the Year. But he's one of 5. We'll see if he gets that big award. But congratulations to Clay either way. Our Mu Alpha Theta Sponsor of the Year, I want to congratulate Jason Consolo, a math teacher from King, on being named the 2024 Mu Alpha Theta Sponsor of the Year. Cool for him. Mu Alpha Theta is the National High School Mathematics Honor Society, established this award in 2015 to recognize a sponsor who has worked tirelessly and made significant contributions to the organization and their students. And we bring that up. Our teachers have their duties, but so many of them sponsor clubs. And special congratulations here to Jason. On top of what they do every day teaching kids, they also find the time to sponsor clubs. They're not supplemented for that in any way. They do it out of their heart to support our students. So. Great shout out to Jason for being the National High School Mathematics Honor Society Sponsor of the Year. So congrats to Jason. At ADAM Pre-K ribbon cutting, last week we ushered in a new and exciting chapter for ADAM Pre-K Magnet School. Our operations team held a ribbon cutting ceremony to officially signify that the school is complete and ready to welcome in its inaugural group of students. Under the leadership of Principal Scott Weaver and with the overwhelming support of the community, our students are sure to receive a world-class education and school experience. We look forward to seeing those new aviators on August the 12th. I know board members, a lot of you were with me. What an unbelievable school. Look absolutely gorgeous, and can't wait to open that up to our students on August the 12th. So guess where we're at now? Ms. Rendon, any guesses where we're at? How many submissions do we have? Oh, so you went a little high. Well, close. 2,280 submissions. So I think this is the most we've had of submissions for a school naming in a long, long time. So thank you for, it's still 2 weeks left. So that goes until Friday, August the 9th. So name recognitions will be accepted through Friday, August 9th. Then on September 5th, the name suggestions will go to the board for a vote. So we'll name it, again, I said this last time, but on September 5th board meeting, we'll name the high school in Waimama. We're up to over 2,000 submissions, which is the most submissions we've had, I think, ever when it comes to a naming of a school. So those of you that still want to get those recommendations in, you have until to submit your recommendation by Friday, August the 9th. So those are my superintendent's comments. We do have one update on the suspended agenda this evening, and it's around our Future Career Academy. Do want to provide an update there, so I'm going to turn it over briefly to Mr. Murillo for an update, a suspended agenda update. Future Career Academies is on our suspended agenda, so Mr. Murillo with an update around Future Career Academy. Sir.
Thank you, Superintendent. So first of all, we're going to give you a brief overview of the work that they did for the 23-24 school year and where FCA Future Career Academy is headed for 24-25 around the curriculum and delivery and actually all the events that are focusing on students. So we're going to start just by reading the mission by creating life and changing opportunities for youth and adults while helping companies grow and providing an economic catalyst for communities. The student-focused events, mainly, this is where the impact is for the 23-24 year. This is where the numbers actually are going to take place. As we have spoken in the past, we have business panels around October and November that involves almost 7,300 students that gain a valuable career insights into 16 industries from 35 employers. And this right now represented 30% increase in the student participation over the previous year. And then you have the business tours in January and February, and you had almost 2,200 students connected with 72 businesses and 9 training partners across 16 industries at 179 business tour stops, and that was 24% increase in the student participation. From there, the Future Career Academy has their Future Fair hiring events in April, and they had 2,000 students begin that process, with 271 hiring and training partners, with a 14% increase in that participation. They also had 125 students registered to vote. 96% of students indicated they have a better understanding of the industries in their community, and 92% of the students found or may have found additional industries that they're interested in. And one thing that they they try to focus, and they will continue to focus, and you'll see later and later slide around the strategic planning for next year. They started with the signing days and also tracking a lot of the hiring, where the students are going after all these events. And if you see 150 students were recognized at those specific signing days, that brings a lot of excitement to the students and recognition of this process at their schools, highlighting the early successes between April and May. And as of late May, 90 students had secure employment, 55 students enrolled in further education and training opportunities, 32 students enlisted in our military, totaling 177 students, with this number continuing to rise as they continue to monitor the tracking system of the hires. Now, moving forward, they have the business strategic planning goal, in which they met with employee partners and business partners, which businesses value this opportunity as they see their input in action through their curriculum. And they have a few focuses that it's right there in bold. It's the attendance and retention, tracking hires, like I mentioned in the previous slide, defining hiring process, Gen Z integration, salary and wage expectations. And another piece of this slide that I would like to highlight for FCA is the program goals highlight. And if you see at the bottom, Workforce Development Partners' primary goals for the coming school year is to grow a district-wide of the Empowering Your employment, enlist, and enrollment in a training program to ensure that all pathways to individual success are offered, engaged, and realized. Here, we're going to talk a little bit about the curriculum. This is a little bit about the curriculum that's going to be open for our schools and our high schools in the English 4 and English 4 honors classes. And it's based on the foundations for future success, industry exploration, and professional development. They're also, as we are working together to make sure that we expand the exposure and try to prepare our students all the way from 9th grade through 12th grade. There's different modules that we're working with Workforce Division and CTE and some of the courses that actually start with setting up for success, to transferable skills, to career explorations, post-secondary exploration, and launching your career. So we're working together to expand this work around CTE courses as well. And to close out, they already have planned all the events as they continue to grow and make sure that the students get the right exposure around these events, starting with the business panels. All the dates and locations are there, to the business tours, and also the future hiring, the fair hiring events, in which I know a lot of us have participated and have witnessed the work that they've been doing. And it's really exciting just to see the faces of the students when they get off those buses and they're dressed, ready to be part of an experience. And then we see how the event has been organized to the level that high school students are actually sitting together, at the same time having 2 other high schools there, and having their staff actually presenting and make sure that they understand the expectations around those hiring events at the end of the school year. For now, that would be the Future Career Academy update for this year.
Thank you, Mr. Murillo. Board members, that's my superintendent's updates. One additional announcement, just know that on July 31st, we have our joint principal supervisors meeting. So all of you, of course, will be invited to that. We'll kick off our theme about Stronger Together, kind of highlight all our accomplishments for this past year, and then it's really that event is really our kickoff for the next school year with all of our principals and district supervisors and administrators. So that date's on July 31st. You should have that on your calendar. Look forward to kicking off, official kickoff of that school year at that July 31st date. And Madam Chair, those are my updates.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. Member Hunt?
Thank you, Chair Perez. So a lot of great things the last couple of weeks. Summer is definitely not our quiet time in this district. First off, I'm excited to say that the Early Childhood Literacy Bus has an official name, and her name is Paige. So Paige is going to hopefully be at a school near you in a couple weeks, and at some of the events that that the superintendent highlighted tonight. Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine is doing an article on Paige, so that'll hit stands probably in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. So that's really exciting. So the kids can, kind of put a name to the bus and get excited about Paige coming to visit and so forth. So I want to thank the communications department for coming up with that and running with it, and they did a phenomenal job. So thank you, Tanya, and your crew. You guys are great. Saturday was a fun day. I was at the Bullard Family Foundation backpack build, and it was so heartwarming to see all of these community partners, hundreds of people there, come to the event to prepare the backpacks that next weekend we will be giving out at the Bullard Back to School Bash. So that was a lot of fun. I want to thank Thaddeus Bullard, of course, the executive director of the Bullard Family Foundation, Fong, and James, who was our Hillsborough County team leader. He was fantastic. He kept us on task. He organized us. And we were the third team to finish, but that's because the other teams did not take a lunch break, and it was not because we were looking for a lunch break. It was the way it was organized. So I'm just saying we were neck and neck, really. But everyone did a great job. It was amazing, how well organized, how quickly everything was done. And before you knew it, it was probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I think they had 15,000 backpacks ready to go for Saturday. So I look forward to being there Saturday morning, helping with that event, and also heading out to MacDill Air Force Base for their back-to-school event on Saturday. Also, I was so honored, as Superintendent Ayers mentioned, we cut the ribbon at Adem K-8, and it is really a state-of-the-art facility, beautiful school. We dedicated and we celebrated Ken E. Adem. And his family spoke so beautifully about what a wonderful father and grandfather and mentor and teacher and principal and all the wonderful things he did that touched so many people's lives. He was a lifelong educator. His 37-year career as an educator in our school district profoundly shaped our education community. And his unwavering dedication really underscores the importance for our school board to continually seek meaningful ways to honor our educators, ensuring their lasting impact is recognized and cherished. And I feel really strongly about that, we look for ways to honor our educators while they're here working in our district, and then really recognizing the legacy, the beautiful legacy they left behind. And we were able to do that for Mr. Adem and his family on that wonderful day. So I'm really excited to be there on the very first day of school, welcoming families, our inaugural families and students into the school, and visiting also many other schools on the first day of school. But that was really a fun event. I think this board has been really fortunate to have so many opportunities to open schools, and it's an exciting part of our job. It's a big accomplishment because it takes really everybody from the also everywhere across this organization to get that across the finish line. So good job to everybody. I know Mr. Farkas isn't here, but his team did an amazing job. Like we said, creative contractors came in on time, under budget. The architects did a beautiful job. So really, really proud to have that school in our Hillsborough portfolio. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to try to exude the same enthusiasm that Member Hahn has had during this time of night. So here it is. A shout out to Jennifer Woods for the School South County Career Center Credit Recovery Center. What a wonderful, transformative principal. Superintendent Van Az and myself, we visited the 150-acre property, and just a very easy segue. One of their biggest shout-outs is the Future Career Academy, and that was mentioned over and over again, as well as the affective domain of the 7 mindsets, but also to be practical, the success of the standard diplomas that were earned. So if we look at 2021, 81, then 2022, 86, and 2023 to 24, 102 standard diplomas earned. In other words, that credit recovery that they're doing with these students is very successful, and a lot of eclectic programs are at the South County Career Center. Again, thank you, Jennifer Woods, for being such a great leader, and it shows with the students being very successful. Second, so one of the great, it's not a secret, but I wanted to say, since it's already been highlighted, the Future Career Academy has been such a wonderful way, a conduit for our students to become part of the workforce in a measurable way. The data that has been shared by Marcos Murillo just now would include, and this is just some of the high points, 97.7% of students feel more confident about dressing for success. 98% of the students created or began to create a follow-up script. 94% of students created or began to create a resume, helped by the English curriculum. 96.4% of students created or began to create an elevator speech. I mean, we can go on with the data that supports what a great program, and the participating organizations has grown. Thank you, Member Fry and Rick Lott. I see that your connectivity has definitely been expanded. One thing, though, Superintendent Ayers, we have got to get you to go to the tour, the bus tour, so you can see all these students are just excited, and they're getting to be, they feel successful, and the momentum that has been shared among schools throughout this district is huge. So I'm hoping that you and I can, actually I already had a date put together for you to come with me, so we will do that. Also, congratulations to Katrina Leppert of Steinbrenner High School, Jacob Koenig, and Anthony Minold. Jacob is Sickles High School, and Anthony Minold is Steinbrenner High School. These are the 3 additional National Merit Scholarship winners out of another 36 National Merit Scholarship winners throughout our Hillsborough County Public Schools. It is a very high, prestigious honor, and we applaud those students who have gone beyond academics to really gain such a great scholarship. Congratulations to the new 3. Also, Member Hahn, thank you for all sharing the celebration for the Ken Adam K-8 school. Very innovative. We had a great time with the library. There's so many photos, which unfortunately I didn't load up, so we'll have to do the visual. But you can go on you can sit down in the library with a moving desk, and it goes everywhere. And the students, it's all student-centered, to be moving around, to be pro-group, enthusiastic about reading, etc., but very user-friendly, and we have quite a great school for the South Tampa folks to come to. Special thanks to Amy Adam, who gave us a heartfelt legacy talk about her father, and really meant a lot to the community. So that concludes my remarks. Also, we have a great time a lot of great times to introduce and to greet our faculty as they begin the new school year. So we'll be at those breakfasts coming up.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's hard to believe that the summer is coming to an end so quickly. It seems like it just started. First, I want to say, we talk about a nice break for our teachers, but there are several of our employees who work throughout the school year, including our administrators, and I just want to say thank you so much for the hard work over the summer. Our schools don't stop just because our students aren't there, so I want to say thank you to our employees who continue to work throughout the summer. I know that you haven't really had a break, and just thank you for what you do. I also want to say My son is starting a new middle school. He's going to Williams Magnet, and just like one of the speakers here today, they did like an introductory boot camp where the kids could come a summer camp for 2 days over the summer and really get a feel for what middle school looks like, so it relieves a lot of that anxiety. And I've noticed a lot of other schools doing that in the area. Liberty Middle School in my area is doing that, and I think it's a great idea, especially when we talk about the anxiety that parents and students have when it goes to transitioning to middle school. So I really want to thank the middle schools for doing that. I think it's really important and really helps with a lot of the transition problems. We have so many back to school things going on. One thing I had a question about, as board members, we have a lot of information about all the different things, but does the public have, like, is there a consolidated list where if there are families who are struggling, there's a consolidated list of areas that they can go to get resources, whether it's this clinics to get vaccinations or if they want to pick up backpacks? Do we have a resource for families to be able to know where to go for these things? And if not, can we make one?
Yeah, I'll double check. If not, we'll make sure and get one. I'll get with Mr. Young, Ms. Arch as well. Make sure we compile that and get that to you where it's at. It's a great idea.
And if we can push it out in the email or parent link or just something to get it on parents' radars who are kind of checked out over the summer so that they know all these community members are coming together and where they can get the resources so it actually gets to the people who need it. I also want to mention that this is a great time. Oasis is, they gather all the gently used clothing and supplies to support our social workers who support our students in our schools. So if you're cleaning out your student's closet or anyone's closet and you have extra uniforms, extra supplies, gently used clothing, there's donation places all over North Hillsborough, and you can go to Oasis's link. They're always trying to gather supplies, so please donate to Oasis. They're a huge support within our schools. Also, for our new teachers or even for our returning teachers, Education Foundation has a shops supply store where you can go in if you're struggling to get supplies for your classroom, and you can go in and actually do shopping there. So if you haven't had an opportunity to connect with that and you need some more supplies and you haven't had those fulfilled, please connect and see the Education Foundation. Member Combs is going to speak to this even more, but CABA, which is the Carrollwood Area Business Association, always does a new teacher breakfast in North Hillsborough, including District 1 and District 3. It's going to be at Hill on August 8th, and I just want to say thank you to that and to all of our partners, whether it's the Plant City Chamber of Commerce or different schools or organizations that host these new teacher breakfasts for our educators. I just want to say thank you for that. Unfortunately, I missed the ADEM opening because I was out of town, but it looked like a fantastic event, and I just want to say congratulations to that family. Not only are they involved in education, but they do a huge amount around food insecurity, specifically in my schools in District 3, huge fund drives, raise an enormous amount of food. So I just want to, reiterate that I'm grateful that we are acknowledging their contribution, not just in education, but to our community. Also, I appreciate that David Valdez has sent out an email about getting air conditionings looked at and started before the first of the school year. I think that's something that we definitely need to prioritize. It's frustrating every year where it's the beginning of the year and we have so many families and students who complain. So I'm glad that we're being proactive about that and getting in there early. I hope that this year we have less issues than we have starting because, we're talking about everyday matters. That means everyday matters with air conditioning in Florida in 98-degree weather. So I'm glad we're being proactive about that. I know we'll have another opportunity before school starts to say welcome back to all of our employees who were able to take the summer off. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just excited about all the back to school activities that are going on and hopeful for a new year, a good new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Murillo for doing such a great presentation. I really want to thank Mr. Brooks and Mr. Jargo because really, if you look at the way education is changing and the way you see absenteeism, you're seeing a lot of things that are happening, and we really need to look at education so differently. So I really feel that something like Future Career Academy is what the majority of students, probably 70% of students, are not going to complete a 4-year college. So making sure that students have that exposure to technical, vocational programs, and also, more importantly, seeing the jobs that are here. If you have a little bit of skill, and then you have a little entrepreneurial spirit, you're going to do so much better off than somebody who maybe goes to college and AI takes their job. I mean, using your hands and the technical and vocational programs are really the future. When you see you know, we can't keep up with the roads, we can't keep up with the buildings, we can't keep up with plumbing. If you call someone to fix your car, you have to wait weeks and weeks. I mean, this is a huge issue. So I really think that Future Career Academy, I want to thank Yvonne Fry, Chrissy Lewis. I know you have a new team member, and Mayor Rick Lott, for really, it started in Plant City, and to see it expanding. And I will say, I go out to my high schools all the time. As a matter of fact, when I was out there in the community the other day, I met a kid the other day in the street, and I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I wasn't going to do anything, but I started Future Career Academy. I went to it in Gaither High School, and now I have some direction. So we are changing lives one at a time, and really this is the future. Really, kids looking at that is what we need, and it really needs to start in middle school. We need to make sure that kids have a better idea of what they want to do and move that way. If you look at Asia and you look at Europe, where students are outperforming us by a lot, it starts much earlier. It starts in middle school, so I really think the vision has to be to continue to introduce it, but even at a younger age. And it's very, very important. When people say, hey, we don't need to have that in our English classes, our English teachers, they modify, they adapt, and that's what students need. I can't tell you how many students have come up to me from my daughter's friends and said how that exposed them. And more importantly, some of the kids who went to college, they said, I went to college, but I felt great that my classmate now had some hope. And that's very important as you walk across that stage, especially when we have summer graduations this coming week. You're going to see a lot of students who need this to know that there's a job and an opportunity in the future. So I want to thank Future Career Academy. I want to thank you for all the data and all the things that you're doing and the constant communication with us. I also wanted to say with Ken Adam, I mean, what a beautiful school. I mean, that is such a state-of-the-art school. And I have to say, Amy Adam worked so hard for her family. She never gave up the letters. I mean, all the time that she put forward to make sure that her fathers remembered. And what's amazing is there's already a connectivity with that family. They're already spending time, and that is going to be so great for that school and the legacy of that school. And I think when we name our schools, when you name it to someone who's connected to the community, that is going to continue to strengthen our schools and strengthen the relationship. Finally, Member Vaughn and I, we're going to have a joint event for our new teachers, most of our teachers in District 1 and 3. Hopefully we have many of them because there are many, we have many vacancies in District 1. I'm not sure about District 3, but I know in District 1 we have one of the largest vacancies at Tampa Bay Boulevard. And I will tell you, I think about that every single day. What's the number? I'm at 18. You know, what are those kids walking into every day? I think about that every day, and that's honestly what fuels me, and that's what pushes me to be here every day to fight for those students. Lastly, August 10th, we have a back-to-school fair by State Representative Susan Valdez. She's done this for many years. It's right there at the heart of Lato High School, and we hope many people will come. We have the August 6th and then August 10th, and I hope everyone enjoys their last couple weeks.
Thank you, Member Combs. And Superintendent, you know, we have a lot of community partners that come in and they call and they say, hey, I have 100 book bags and I want to be able to partner with a school. I've had a couple. I'm going to give you an example. Tampa Bay Boulevard, there was a restaurant who said, hey, I want to get back to my community. And they'll be partnering up with Tampa Bay Boulevard during the parent meetup in the student, you know, during that week, and bringing those backpacks to the school to, you know, donate to the school. So, you know, I want to thank those community partners who just come out of nowhere and, you know, support our students. And I wanted to ask you, and now that, you know, it's the beginning of school, with the certificates of completion, we had 362. We had, and our black students had 122, the Hispanics had 304 of those certificates of completion. What are we doing in the beginning of the school year to ensure that those certificates of completion are starting to dwindle down to
Right.
nothing.
Yeah. So with certificates of completion, just so the public knows, certificates of completion are students who have completed every requirement to graduate except meeting the benchmark for either reading or math. I think we had 0 for math, correct? We had 0 that needed math for the benchmark. It's reading was the benchmark that was needed. That number, I want to also recognize that number has jumped up over the past number of years. It was basically a free pass given last year, and the number was reduced down. I think the SAT score was 480 that it was raised to for this school year. But we're working extremely hard to ensure that all of our students don't. Certificate of completion is basically a piece of paper that you walk across the stage with. If you're at the graduation, it looks like these students have earned their diploma, when in fact when they go back in the back, they received a paper that says certificate of completion, or basically thanks for coming for 13 years. So our goal is to get that number to 0. Marcus, I know you were jumping at the bit to jump in. I know you've been taking a lead on that. If you want to add anything else, sir.
I appreciate the question. Mainly, we're working already on how to close out 23-24 school year, and that's going to take all the way till the next CLT that will be provided this Saturday as well. And also, we're already planning how, with the learning that we did this year with the team, and how we actually work, how we modify and improve our work. And we're actually building a format that we actually look into the school student by student a lot earlier than what we did this year, because we started the work around September as we got the group together. So we actually met today to start working around 24-25 school year, but also monitoring to reduce the number 23-24, because we started the work, and this past school year that just ended, we actually, during the year, we reduced the number from 22-23 by 50 students, utilizing the connection with adult education, HVK-12, the work of academic services. So there's a lot of pieces involved around how do we go individually by student and the visits that we have at schools. But the main piece is the principal buy-in and the staff buy-in in the schools to understand the urgency that we need to do now that it went to 480 versus the 430, because that is a drastic change in the number. If we would continue, we will have those numbers by the first week of August, the comparison around if it would have been 430, 480, so everyone can see the work the team has done, mainly that prior to any other year. The numbers would have been a lot less if it would have been 430, but we are going to continue to make it better as the team continues to improve.
And I appreciate that. I know that we have been working together over the summer. I think I've seen you more over the summer than I have, during the school year, working with some of these students. So I really appreciate, the work that you have done and helping some of these students, especially to get them into a more solidified environment for next year and stable environment for their learning progress. I really appreciate that, Mr. Murillo, and also Superintendent Ayers. I see that movement coming along, and I really appreciate that. I know we've done a lot of work over the summer, to stabilize our students, so I really appreciate that, and I want the community to hear that. So with that, seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned.